Chapter 795, Bailey Hongzhuang's counterattack. Compared to burning the shell of the black rock wood, removing the impurities in the essence was more complicated, and her control over the fire needs to be extraordinary. Even a little carelessness will cause the essence to burn into nothingness. But if the heat is too small, the impurities can't be removed completely. It was for this reason that refining the black rock wood was a great way to test the alchemist's control over the fire. Qi. Another sound came. Qi Junnen's face turned a bit ugly. He almost finished refining, but he did not expect that just because he was anxious, it led to the failure of refining. An indescribable sense of depression spread in Qi Junnen's heart. Because their team failed in the first round, he only wanted to get it back in the second round. As long as he could win at the fastest speed in this second round, he could regain a few points. But, he did not expect that both he and Yi Ryu have failed. As a result, they were definitely not going to get the first place in this round. The ones who made the least progress in refining black rock wood were Yi Ryu and Gu Yaoi. He did not expect that he was the slowest one because of his failure at the moment. Looking at the time, Qi Junnan did not dare to delay. If he delayed, the time will not be enough. Lu Qingyue closed her eyes, letting herself not pay attention to anything around her, and put all her attention on refining the black rock wood. At that time, Lu Qingyue, Bailey Hongzhuang and Wei Hanyun were the ones who didn't fail at refining the first black rock wood. Wei Hanyun was a little surprised. He didn't expect Bailey Hongzhuang to last until now. It was completely beyond his expectations. It was really hard to believe. Could this Bailey Hongzhuang really be a second-grade alchemist? Refining black rock wood was not a simple matter, and it was impossible to refine it without a certain level of mastery. He also looked at Lu Qingyue. His goal was to defeat Lu Qingyue. It was only the sudden appearance of Bailey Hongzhuang that undoubtedly affected his plan. Feeling Wei Hanyun's gaze, Bailey Hongzhuang slowly opened her eyes, and looked at Wei Hanyun indifferently. She raised her eyebrows, and her lips twitched with a sneer, and she provoked Wei Hanyun. Perceiving the provocation of Bailey Hongzhuang, Wei Hanyun was even more angry. This Bailey Hongzhuang was really hateful. However, she was just a cultivator. She dared to provoke him in an alchemy contest. She was just seeking death. After Xia Jiqing saw Bailey Hongzhuang's move, she was a little surprised. Does this not affect Hongzhuang's concentration? According to the current situation, it seems that every moment of distraction will lead to the failure of the refining of medicinal materials. It was precisely because of this, Qi Junnan and the others failed one after another. But now Bailey Hongzhuang was provoking Wei Hanyun. It was too risky. Gong Xiaoqing's gaze fell on the body of Bailey Hongzhuang as he thought. Although Bailey Hongzhuang was provoking Wei Hanyun, Lu Qingyue on the other hand has never been affected. Maybe, Hongzhuang wants to help Qingyue. Hearing Gong Xiaoqing, Bai Junyue and the others observed carefully, everyone understood the meaning of Gong Xiaoqing's words. Now Beihai College and Lingyin College were left with Wei Hanyun alone. As long as Wei Hanyun fails to refine, Lu Qingyue would be the best in this round. Bailey Hongzhuang's norm for acting has always been somewhat dependent on hatred. She could be tolerant, but it depends on the value of the other party. Today, the changes in this alchemy contest was the result of the discussion between Lingyin College and Beihai College. They wanted to use this method to defeat Kangwen College. In that case, she wouldn't let Lingyin College and Beihai College have any face left. Perhaps, there are quite a few alchemists who could successfully complete this round, but as long as someone from the Kangwen College could finish it first, she would be happy. Even if Bailey Hongzhuang's own performance is not good in this round. In the eyes of everyone, she was just a cultivator. Even if she had a certain understanding of alchemy, it was half-baked. If she lost, no one would feel that it was wrong. In fact, it seemed to everyone that it was a miracle for Bailey Hongzhuang to persist until now. As long as Hongzhuang's provocation makes Wei Hanyun's mentality unbalanced, then Lu Yue would be the first in this round. Zhang Yunfeng was enlightened. This was the previously Wei Hanyun's trick to trip Bailey Hongzhuang. He did not expect it to be used on himself. Cui Haoyan's eyes were full of admiration. With the help of Bailey Hongzhuang, he wouldn't be able to win. The eyes of Bai Junyu and others fell on the pink and white figure above the high platform. These two were the stars of their college. Although in this time Lu Qingyue would win, in their eyes, the most shining star was Bailey Hongzhuang. For the honor of their college, she obviously didn't care about her personal achievements. How many people can do this kind of thing? But she did it. Wei Hanyun, the level of alchemists at Beihai College is not so good. Bailey Hongzhuang's tone was slightly mean, and her eyes were full of joke. Listening to Bailey Hongzhuang, Wei Hanyun was angry. He knew that Bailey Hongzhuang wanted to irritate him in such a way. He also knew that he could not be distracted at such a crucial moment. There was only one person left in the team of Beihai College, but there was Lu Qingyue in the Kanglan College's team. Even if he and the Bailey Hongzhuang failed together, Lu Qingyue would win the first place in this round, so he can't be distracted. However, the words of Bailey Hongzhuang simply provoked his anger again and again. This damned woman. From the moment this woman walked up the platform, he realized that this woman was definitely a curse. As it turns out, even though Bailey Hongzhuang might not have achievements in alchemy, but she was good at ruining their work. Bailey Hongzhuang, don't be too much. Wei Hanyun's voice was full of anger, but in his heart, he was secretly surprised. As long as there is a moment of distraction at Bailey Hongzhuang's level, the refining should fail. However, Bailey Hongzhuang talked for so long, but there has never been the slightest change in the pill furnace. What was with this situation? Wei Hanyun was puzzled. Could it be that she wasn't refining black rock wood at all? This scene also fell in the eyes of Chu Jio and the others. They also felt a little surprised about Bailey Hongzhuang's move. However, this contest did not have any rule that they could not speak in the middle. For the alchemists, any kind of situation could happen, and this situation of forced distraction was more common. What's more, Wei Hanyun used this trick to stimulate the Bailey Hongzhuang, but it did not seem to have any effect. On the contrary, Wei Hanyun's state was affected. I just said 2 sentences, but you're saying that I am too much. Your tolerance is really not very good. Bailey Hongzhuang sighed with emotion, and then recovered her appearance, and did not intend to continue to pay attention to Wei Hanyun. Hearing Bailey Hongzhuang, Wei Hanyun was even more furious and wanted to say something more, but it seemed useless. Just when Wei Hanyun thought about how to make the Bailey Hongzhuang unhappy, a sound came from his pill furnace. Chi! Wei Hanyun's face instantly turned purple. He was actually brought to the ditch by Bailey Hongzhuang. He was thinking about how to make Bailey Hongzhuang unhappy, but he forgot to refine the black rock wood, which was the most important. Bailey Hongzhuang. Wei Hanyun bit his teeth. His refining was about to succeed, but even in such a situation, he failed. However, Bailey Hongzhuang acted as if nothing has been heard. Bailey Hongzhuang's eyes quietly fell on Lu Qinyue's body. She had already judged that Wei Hanyun was a little faster than Lu Qinyue. If this continued, Wei Hanyun would complete refining black rock wood before Lu Qinyue. With the Wei Hanyun's level of refining the black rock wood, Bailey Hongzhuang was also a doubtful. Obviously, this Wei Hanyun's alchemy level was very high, even higher than Lu Qinyue. All the others have failed to refine black rock wood, but Wei Hanyun has persisted for so long. This showed the level that Wei Hanyun has achieved in alchemy, in his attitude toward Lu Qinyue, obviously showed that his purpose was to defeat Lu Qinyue. This time, the Beihai College came prepared. It was for this reason that she did this in the middle of the contest. No matter what preparations Beihai College has made for today's alchemy contest, as long as she was there, she would not let the other party succeed. Gu Yaoi put all her hopes on Wei Hanyun. But she didn't expect Wei Hanyun to fail at this moment. Her tutor told her that Wei Hanyun's alchemy technique was very powerful. She only needed to cooperate with Wei Hanyun to take the first place in the alchemy contest. However, Wei Hanyun failed at this time, and the remaining time was not much. At the thought of this, Gu Yaoi could not help but panic, and her refining failed again. Zhang Hongshi's face was very ugly, and he didn't understand what was wrong with Wei Hanyun and Gu Yaoi today. Such a contest on normal days would not be able to beat them at all, but now due to the recent occurrences, among the three teams, they were the slowest. Hey old Huan, this Bailey Hongzhuang is a bit mean. Zhang Hongshi slowly complained, and his words were full of dissatisfaction. Notes: 1. Old, it is a way to call acquaintances. Here Zhang Hongshi is calling Huan Chuyao as Old Huan. However, Wei Hanyun used this trick before the start of the contest. But he didn't expect Bailey Hongzhuang to be even more brilliant. She actually did it in the course of the contest. Humph! Zhang Hongshi snorted. Previously Huan Chuyu never had such an attitude, but now he was embarrassing him. Jian Qingqiu looked at Huan Chuyu. This time, the Kanglan College was really acting different, and have completely changed their attitude. For today's alchemy contest, they have spent a lot of effort, not thinking that Bailey Hongzhuang to be such a variable, let them be caught off guard. Hongzhuang is too powerful. At the moment Wei Hanyun failed, Xia Jiqing couldn't help but applaud. Bailey Hongzhuang was really awesome. The conspiracy that the two colleges made may not be useful after Bailey Hongzhuang's move. Cui Haoyan chuckled. He was afraid that with Bailey Hongzhuang's move only incited Wei Hanyun's anger. Gong Shaoqing and others were full of joyful smiles. Wei Hanyun thought that he was really smart and clever, he deserved it. Wei Hanyun was still refining the black rock wood, and his eyes flashed with a gloomy light. He didn't believe that Bailey Hongzhuang was really refining the black rock wood. If it was true, he was afraid that the black rock in the pill furnace would have turned into nothingness. Now he finally understands, the Kanglan College sent Bailey Hongzhuang to participate to disturb them while refining. The refining technique of Bailey Hongzhuang itself was not very good, but she can disturb others. As long as Lu Qinyue can win the first place, it was enough. Thinking of this, Wei Hanyun glanced at Bailey Hongzhuang in a resentful manner. Since this is a trick of Bailey Hongzhuang, then he would never let the conspiracy of Bailey Hongzhuang succeed. Wei Hanyun slowly stepped back a few steps and slowly walked towards Gu Yaoi. However, when he passed by Lu Qinyue, he fell, inadvertently, and directly hit Lu Qinyue. The sudden arrival of the situation made Lu Yue look awkward and rushed to stabilize the situation in the Dan furnace. I'm really sorry. Wei Hanyun patted his clothes and looked at Lu Qinyue with apology, then walked back to his position. On the other side, Qi Junnan and Yi Ruyu saw this scene and they were stunned. In fact, this was the last resort that they could think of. According to the instructor, no matter what method was used today, the Kanglan College must be defeated. It was only that they had no courage to make this brazen move. After all, everyone was in the dark about what they did. They did not expect that when they were still hesitating to do this, Wei Hanyun did not hesitate to do it. They didn't care about Bailey Hongzhuang, and Lu Qinyue was the real opponent. Even if they let Bailey Hongzhuang on the high platform until the last moment, she would not be able to do anything. Lu Qinyue was taking care of the black rock wood essence in pill, but this essence was too weak. When she reacted to the situation, it was too late. Chi. The same subtle sound sounded, and the herbs in Lu Qinyue's pill furnace has turned into nothingness. Listening to this sound, Wei Hanyun's lips showed a smile, but when he looked at Gu Yaoi, his expression turned into one that of disgust. Feeling Wei Hanyun's gaze, Gu Yaoi's face was a bit ugly. Wei Hanyun wanted her to disturb Lu Qinyue when she failed before, but she never dared. She didn't think Wei Hanyun did it himself directly. As a result, her pressure reduced a lot. Waste. Wei Hanyun left cold sentence and began to refine the black rock wood again. Again standing in Bailey Hongzhuang's side, Wei Hanyun's eyes showed a smug expression, but it did not affect Bailey Hongzhuang. He wanted to look at Bailey Hongzhuang to disgust her. After the time has come, if Bailey Hongzhuang still has not refined, then she was really a huge joke. Bailey Hongzhuang, no matter what you do, the Kanglan College is now at the bottom. Bailey Hongzhuang's calm look did not change because of Wei Hanyun's words. Even so, your speed is not necessarily faster than Lu Qinyue. Lu Qinyue's face was quite ugly, but she quickly began to refine, and no matter how much she got in the second round, she should not be eliminated. Yi Ruyu's heart was filled with joy. He was the first person to fail. Unexpectedly, he has become the fastest one among all people. It's really a surprise for him. As for Bailey Hongzhuang, he has already ignored her. Because she wouldn't win. After paying attention to the expressions of Wei Hanyun and others, Bailey Hongzhuang was also helpless. Was she being shackled? Her black rock wood has to be refined, and these guys who made the whole conspiracy seem to completely ignore her existence. Wei Hanyun and others saw that Bailey Hongzhuang was still refining the black rock wood, and felt that it was very funny. They didn't expect Bailey Hongzhuang to be really ordinary. This group of idiots have neglected Bailey Hongzhuang, and after a while I'm afraid that they would hurt even their intestines in remorse. Although everyone felt that it was a pity that Lu Qinyue failed to refine, Xia Jiqing believed that Bailey Hongzhuang would win. All of them made a common mistake that many people would make, but Bailey Hongzhuang is really amazing. She would not fail. Zhang Yinfeng's eyes were full of wonder. He saw that other refining pharmacists failed only at a moment's distraction. Among all the alchemists present here, the most distracted one should be Bailey Hongzhuang, but Bailey Hongzhuang has not failed. When the words came out, Zhang Yinfeng and the others looked at each other. Could it be that Bailey Hongzhuang has really not started refining? The look of everyone has changed a bit. It seemed that it was not impossible. After Zhang Hongxi's glimpsed at Wei Hanyun's actions, there was a smile on his eyes. As long as he affected Lu Qinyue's progress, their purpose was reached. Wei Hanyun saw Bailey Hongzhuang and noticed that she still kept her previous movements unchanged. He sneered in his heart. He would see how long Bailey Hongzhuang could pretend. However, at this moment, a faint scent came from Bailey Hongzhuang's pill furnace. It was the smell of medicine. Wei Hanyun could not help but widen his eyes, and looked at Bailey Hongzhuang as if she was a ghost. Not only Wei Hanyun, Yi Ruyu and others were also completely stunned. This smell. Wasn't it the smell of the black rock wood extract? What a joke. Was it really Bailey Hongzhuang who refined the black rock wood? She was so distracted but she could still refine successfully. Was this a good way to tease them? However, it made them understand that they really ignored the most important of enemies. Bailey Hongzhuang directly put the essence of black rock wood into the container, and smiled as she looked at Wei Hanyun and others. In fact, because she has refined black rock wood many times, she was familiar with black rock wood. The short-term distraction has no effect on her at all, because she was familiar enough to know exactly when to pay attention to what. Lu Qinyue's face showed a faint smile. Everyone thought of her as an opponent, but they did not know that the alchemy of Bailey Hongzhuang was equally exquisite. The first place in this round of assessment went to the Kanglan College, and the alchemists of Lingyin College and Beihai College were afraid of getting eliminated. In comparison, her mood was very good. The previous move of Bailey Hongzhuang was to help her, but before the start of the contest, Master had already reminded her that it is very likely that the opponent would do anything and wanted her to be more careful. However, Wei Hanyun's move was unstoppable. Fortunately, everyone underestimated Bailey Hongzhuang, so Bailey Hongzhuang easily refined. Speaking of Bailey Hongzhuang, Lu Qinyue also felt somewhat emotional. She has never compared alchemy with Bailey Hongzhuang, but from the previous situation, she felt that the alchemy of Bailey Hongzhuang was most likely to be stronger than her. Because, in the process of this refining, she can never be distracted like Bailey Hongzhuang, so she could see the gap between them. When Bai Jingtian came to Lingyin College, he saw the scene where Bailey Hongzhuang finished, and the three could not help but look at each other. This situation was somewhat wrong. Bailey Hongzhuang is not a cultivator. Today Lingyin Academy is hosting an alchemy contest. What is Bailey Hongzhuang doing up there? Bai Jingtian was puzzled. They still thought about where to go to find Bailey Hongzhuang. But they didn't expect to see Bailey Hongzhuang on the high platform. In the eyes of Ji Yanma, there is also a puzzled light. I don't know, is this girl an alchemist? When Ji Yanma thought of this idea, he himself denied it directly. What a joke. Wasn't Bailey Hongzhuang clearly an inscriptionist? Since this girl is on the high platform, we will wait a little longer. I believe it won't take long for her to come down. After finding Bailey Hongzhuang, Qin Qinyi was relieved. As long as Bailey Hongzhuang did not leave the Qin imperial city, he was very pleased. Chu Jiuyo checked the refining results of Bailey Hongzhuang and announced that Bailey Hongzhuang passed directly. On hearing this news, Yi Ruyu and other people's faces were ugly. They did not think that Bailey Hongzhuang has always been playing pig to eat tigers. From now onwards, they would no longer doubt Bailey Hongzhuang's strength. It was impossible to refine the black rock wood without a certain level. However, this Bailey Hongzhuang is too abnormal. As a cultivator, she could still learn alchemy to this point. It wasn't their first time to be the referee of this alchemy contest. They used to know the tricks of Lingyin College and Beihai College. They never thought that this time, in the alchemy contest Bailey Hongzhuang would shock the other to defeat. This was a very rare scene. I think the character of this girl is good. The character of Lu girl is too soft. Although the alchemist should be easygoing, if the temper is too soft, it is easy to be bullied. Lin Hao shook his head. They had known Lu Qinyue for a long time. They were worried about her temper. I don't know what about this girl's rank in alchemy, but at a young age, she is already a practitioner of the innate realm. It is really amazing to have such an accomplishment in alchemy. Chu Jiu smiled. Chen Yu smiled faintly. That's not easy. I will naturally know when I wait for this third round of assessment. When Bailey Hongzhuang completed refining, because they were too surprised, Yi Ruyu and Gu Yaoi failed again. When the two heard the sound from the pill furnace, the faces of the two were pale, and the time had passed, and they had failed again. They are likely to be eliminated because they can't finish in such little time. At the thought of this, the two were even more resentful about Bailey Hongzhuang. If not for Bailey Hongzhuang, they would not be distracted at this critical moment. When the two hated Bailey Hongzhuang was uninformed about this. She passed the round and she was resting. However, even if Bailey Hongzhuang knows the thoughts of Yi Ruyu, she would not care. It was their fault for getting distracted. Who are they blaming for their own fault? In the end, it's just that their self-control is not enough. At last, Wei Hanyun and Lu Qinyue completed the refining at the same time. Qi Junan also completed, and Yi Ruyu and Gu Yaoi were eliminated because the time was up. The second round, Bailey Hongzhuang, Lu Qinyue, Wei Hanyun, Qi Junan passed. Yi Ruyu, Gu Yaoi eliminated. Chen Yu immediately announced the final result. The people under the high platform also sighed after hearing the result. This time, the Kanglin College is really going to shine. In the first two rounds of this alchemy contest, the best results were from the Kanglin College students, which was amazing. Yi Ruyu and Gu Yaoi walked down the high platform, and both of them were unwilling. But so what if they were unwilling? It was useless. The level of the alchemists of the Kanglin College is really good. The performance of Lu Qinyue and Bailey Hongzhuang are very outstanding. This Bailey Hongzhuang is really magical. As a practitioner, I can still have such a level. I don't know if she can persist the third round. According to the news I got, Bailey Hongzhuang is a practitioner. How can she suddenly become an alchemist? Ji Yano couldn't understand it. It is reasonable to say that the news he got should not go wrong. Stop focusing on the wrong thing. Bai Jingtian blew his beard. This girl is a rare genius inscriptionist. Now she wastes time on alchemy. It is a mess. Although the alchemists are also very promising, but the number of alchemists is much more than that of the inscriptionists are respected more than them. As if being a good inscriptionist is not enough, she even runs to be an alchemist. Wasn't that a waste of talent? Ji Yanma and Qin Qingwu also agreed with Bai Jingtian's words. Bailey Hongzhuang's talent in inscription art to study inscriptions inadvertently was really good. It seems that we have to talk to Bailey girl, his talent in inscriptions would be wasted with her practicing alchemy. Qin Qingwu said seriously. Now start the third round. With Jian Qingqi's words, everyone's eyes fell on him, and Jian Qingqi's also announced the topic. The third round of competition, participants should refine the highest level of pill that they can refine. When the words came out, everyone in the audience was excited. From the previous two trials, they couldn't understand who was the best, but this third round allowed everyone to clearly see their level in alchemy. This was what everyone expected. Xia Jiqing and others were also somewhat uncertain. So far, they never knew Bailey Hongzhuang's level in alchemy. Lin Hao slowly stood up and said, the current score is as follows, Bailey Hongzhuang 6 points, Lu Qingyue 5 points, Wei Hanyun 4 points, Qi Junan 2 points. The points obtained in the third round would be doubled, the highest score is the first, the third round commences. Hearing the scores, the Lingyin College practitioners' face were somewhat ugly. At present, Qi Junan's score was the lowest, and Lingyin College was at the bottom. Although there is still a third round of competition, they have realized that it is impossible for Qi Junan to get this first place. Wei Hanyun's face was also ugly. He already guessed about the topic of the third round, so he was well prepared for this third round. However, due to Bailey Hongzhuang the situation changed. He got this much low score. It was not easy to make up for this gap through the third round. Now he regretted it. He knew it before. At that time, he should have plotted against Bailey Hongzhuang along with Lu Qingyue. The current situation will not become so difficult. Lu Qingyue was faintly smiling. Now, the Kanglin College was the most likely to win the first place. As long as the Kanglin College can get the first place, she was happy. At least, this time, they will not be called as the laughing stock by the Lingyin College and Beihai College students. Bailey Hongzhuang, can you refine second-grade pills? Lu Qingyue was worried about Bailey Hongzhuang. The pill formula would be different with each alchemist. She has a teacher. And she had gotten many pill formulas from him. \n Since she wanted to refine the pills, Lu Qingyue was already prepared. She had already prepared all the herbs needed to refine the pills. As for Bailey Hongzhuang, although she was on a temporary mission, she had always prepared a lot of herbs, and she had all the herbs she needed. Wei Hanyun and Qi Junan's situation naturally didn't need to be explained. Perhaps they already knew about this question, so naturally, there weren't too many herbs. Then, Bailey Hongzhuang and the others stood on the high platform. Everyone did not use the pill furnace that they normally used. Instead, they used the pill furnace that was prepared by the Spirit Concealment Academy. This was the fairest method. Bailey Hongzhuang and the others stood at the very front of the stage. Their every move was clearly seen by the crowd, and the crowd's voice was also a little quieter. Refining pills was more detailed than refining medicinal herbs. They tried not to affect the performance of the people on the stage. Jian Qingqiu looked at the students of the Spirit Concealment Academy who had a lot of self-control under the high platform. A gratified light appeared in his eyes, but when he saw this, he could not help but feel surprised. Jian Qingqiu took a closer look. After making sure that he didn't see anything, he stood up and quickly walked down the platform. When Huan Chuyu and the others saw Jian Qingqiu's actions, they were confused. They did not know what Jian Qingqiu was going to do. Elder Bai, Elder Ji, Elder Qin, I didn't expect you to come. Why didn't you tell me earlier? Jian Qingqiu had a happy smile on his face. Bai Jingtian and the other two inscriptionists had a high reputation and status in the imperial city. He had invited them to watch the exchange match, but he was rejected. However, he did not expect to see them here today. He felt very honored. The exchange meeting held by the academy, not only the three masters of the Alchemist Guild, but also the three masters of the Inscription Guild, was it not a proof of the influence of the academy in Qingshao country? Bai Jingtian smiled faintly. We just happened to have something to attend to. Bai Jingtian and the other two weren't interested in Jian Qingqiu. The things they wanted to do were the simplest. Jian Qingqiu was too utilitarian and wasn't like them. It was because of this that they had rejected Jian Qingqiu's invitation. However, they didn't expect that Bailey Hongzhuang had also participated in the exchange meeting. Hearing Bai Jingtian's answer, although Jian Qingqiu was a little surprised, he did not put it in his heart. No matter what reason Bai Jingtian and the other two came here for, as long as they came here, in the eyes of the others, this was enough face for him. Sure enough, when everyone saw Jian Qingqiu and Bai Jingtian standing together, their eyes shone with astonishment and surprise. After all, Bai Jingtian and the other two's status in the imperial city wasn't ordinary. Ordinary people couldn't even see them. Today's Spirit Concealment Academy is even more amazing. Not only did they invite the three master alchemists from the Alchemist Guild, they even invited the inscription master that ordinary people can't even invite. It's truly amazing. Spirit Concealment Academy is already number one among the three academies, and their relationship with the royal family is so close, so there is no need to talk about their influence. I usually only heard of the three inscription masters, but this is my first time seeing them. The students of Spirit Concealment Academy were excited. For Spirit Concealment Academy to have such a status, they felt proud of themselves as students of Spirit Concealment Academy. Elder Bai, please take a seat first. Let's see how the students in the alchemy competition perform. Jian Qingqiu smiled. Bai Jingtian and the other two looked at each other and did not reject Jian Qingqiu's invitation. There was no other way. The person they were looking for was participating in the alchemy competition. They couldn't find Bailey Hongzhuang right now, they could only wait for the alchemy competition to end. Seeing that Bai Jingtian and the other two had agreed, the smile on Jian Qingqiu's face intensified. He immediately invited Bai Jingtian and the other two onto the stage. When Lin Yinghao saw Bai Jingtian and the other two, he revealed a look of joy. This was such a surprise. Seeing the arrival of Bai Jingtian and the other two, Chu Jiyo and the other two also walked over. Although the Inscription Association and the Alchemist Association were not the same guild, they still had a certain degree of interaction. Perhaps because they were all focused on their own business, Chu Jiyo and the others had a very good relationship with Bai Jingtian and the others. Elder Bai, why are you all here today? Chen Yu was a little surprised. They had told Bai Jingtian and the other two about this matter earlier, but it was clear that they weren't very interested in this matter. Logically speaking, the three of them should not have appeared here today. What was the reason for this? If this was to give Jian Qingqiu face, the three of them would never believe it. They couldn't be more clear about the personalities of Bai Jingtian and the other two. They had no meaning in front of all of them. Clearly, Jian Qingqiu was unable to invite them. Bai Jingtian smiled faintly. A few days ago, we discovered a genius inscriptionist. We only found out that she was in Spirit Concealment Academy after some inquiries, so we came. Hearing Bai Jingtian's words, Jian Qingqiu's eyes lit up. A genius inscriptionist had actually appeared in Spirit Concealment Academy. This was really a surprise. It was just that he didn't know which class this student belonged to. He didn't even know that he had such outstanding talent. It was really a mistake to not notice that. Even so, Jian Qingqiu's heart was filled with joy. As long as they were students of Spirit Concealment Academy, they would still be part of Spirit Concealment Academy in the future. The three masters, why don't I find that student after the alchemy competition ends? Jian Qingqiu asked with a smile. Bai Jingtian nodded. That's what we planned. When Huan Chuyu saw Bai Jingtian and the other two, his eyes were filled with emotion. He did not expect Spirit Concealment Academy's current status to be even better. Even the talented inscription master had appeared in Spirit Concealment Academy. Thinking of this, he couldn't help sighing. Not to mention inscriptions in the academy, there wasn't a single inscriptionist in city. This was the difference in reality. San Hongxi's expression changed a little. Although he was in the alliance with Spirit Concealment Academy, he was also surprised to see that Spirit Concealment Academy had such an influence. He was afraid that the future Beihai College would have to obey Spirit Concealment Academy. He did not know if this situation would change in the future. Jian Qingqiu looked at Huan Chuyu proudly. When he saw Huan Chuyu's expression, the pride in his eyes grew stronger. Whether it was Kanglin College or Beihai College, they would not be a match for Spirit Concealment Academy. In the future, the Spirit Concealment College would definitely take the lead. However, Beihai College understood the direction of the wind and knew to join them. As for the ignorant Kanglin College, they would eventually disappear from the Saint Xian land. Xia Jiqing and the others looked at each other when they saw Bai Jingtian and the other two. They didn't expect the three inscription masters to be here. I didn't expect the inscription master to be interested in this alchemy competition. Bai Junyu slowly spoke. Xia Jiqing's eyes were filled with displeasure. You didn't see how proud the students of Spirit Concealment College were when they saw them. It seems that Spirit Concealment College is worthy of first place. Right now, she did not have a good impression of Spirit Concealment Academy. She only hoped that Spirit Concealment's results would be terrible. He did not expect the appearance of the three inscription masters to bring glory to the academy. He could not help but feel depressed. Lu Huaiyan's expression was also not very good. The more influential the Spirit Concealment Academy was, the more disadvantageous it was to the Kanglin College. However, the relocation of Spirit Concealment Academy to Qingshao Imperial City was a lot easier. At least the students would have access to the inscription. However, there was no inscription master in Azure Water City. The students had no chance to see it. Lin Hao sat down beside Bai Jingtian. Elder Bai, did you really find an inscription master's talent in the Spiritual Concealment Academy? Lin Hao was very surprised. An inscription master was even more rare than an alchemist. Although the threshold for alchemist was very high, the number of alchemists was much higher than an inscription master. Therefore, it was much easier for an alchemist then to find an inscription master. Even in the entire imperial city of Qingshao, there were only 3 inscription masters who could be masters. It was amazing that they could find inscription masters in the Spiritual Concealment Academy. Hearing Lin Hao's words, Bai Jingtian pondered for a moment. He also understood Lin Hao's personality. This guy wouldn't fight with him, right? Thinking of this, Bai Jingtian said ambiguously, that girl is in the Spiritual Hidden Academy. Lin Hao frowned. He felt that Bai Jingtian's situation today was a little strange. Bai Jingtian and the other two had never been interested in this alchemy competition. In their eyes, inscriptions were the most powerful. Now they were sitting here watching young alchemists refining pills. Old Chen, who are you most optimistic about in this year's alchemy competition? Ji Yunma looked at Chen Yu and asked. His thoughts were the same as by Jing Tian. He could not let Bailey Hongzhuang be snatched away by the Alchemist Association. Chen Yu was also curious about Ji Yunma's question. Did this old man change his mind today? However, Chen Yu didn't think too much about it. He immediately said, Lu Qingyue has always been called a genius alchemist, the level of alchemy is very good. TL note: Lingyin College equals Spiritual Concealment Academy. Chapter 806 Alchemy Genius Inscriptionist. Hearing Chen Yu's words, Ji Yunma could not help but sigh in relief. It seemed that Bailey Hongzhuang's performance in pill refining wasn't the most outstanding. Other than Lu Qingyue. Ji Yunma continued to ask. Chen Yu's gaze fell on Bailey Hongzhuang and Wei Hanyun. According to the information he received, Wei Hanyun was already a Tier 2 alchemist. With Wei Hanyun's age, being able to become a Tier 2 alchemist was already outstanding. Compared to Lu Qingyue, his talent was only slightly weaker. As for Bailey Hongzhuang, so far he hadn't received much information about her, but from her previous performance, he could tell that Bailey Hongzhuang was an accomplished alchemist. However, he didn't know that Bailey Hongzhuang was a top-tier alchemist, so he couldn't make a decision. Thinking about it, Chen Yu said, Wei Hanyun's alchemy skills are also outstanding, he is Lu Qingyue's enemy. I see. The smile on Ji Yunma's face widened. It seemed that Chen Yu and the others would not fight for Bailey Hongzhuang. Qin Qinggu had a faint smile on his face. He did not need to ask, and Bai Jingtian and the other two could get the information they wanted to know. I think Bailey Hongzhuang's level of pill refinement should also be very good, maybe she will have a stunning performance in the third round. Chu Jio's eyes fell on Bailey Hongzhuang. When she first saw her, she didn't feel anything, but after seeing Bailey Hongzhuang's performance in these two matches, she felt that Bailey Hongzhuang was probably hiding something. With Bailey Hongzhuang's age, she should be very nervous in such a situation, but Bailey Hongzhuang's mental state was obviously not something that ordinary people could compare to. She wasn't nervous at all. She didn't even care. There were only two explanations for this performance. One was that Bailey Hongzhuang's alchemy was very poor, so she was completely at the bottom of the list, so she didn't care at all. The other was that her alchemy was very strong, so she had enough confidence in herself. Chu Jio thought for a moment between the two, she felt that Bailey Hongzhuang should be in the second situation. Perhaps another outstanding alchemist had appeared. As Chu Jio's voice fell, Bai Jingtian and the other two's expressions changed a little. They didn't want the Alchemist Association to look at Bailey Hongzhuang. In my opinion, the two people that Elder Chen mentioned are better. Qin Qinggu said slowly. What a joke. It was a waste of time for the geniuses of inscription masters to come here and become alchemists instead of studying inscription techniques. Ji Yunma nodded in agreement. That's right, I think so too. Chu Jio's eyes fell on Ji Yunma. As a woman, she was more sensitive. These three old men knew nothing about alchemy, how could they know who was better? The three old men's performance today was really strange, but she couldn't figure out what was going on. Chu Jio didn't care if she didn't understand, but she would find out sooner or later. Lin Yinghao walked over to Bai Jingtian and the other two. He smiled and said, Elder Bai, Elder Ji, Elder Qin, since you're here, I'll introduce you to the other two principals. Chapter 807, Rank 2 Pill, Heaven-Mending Pill. Lin Yinghao was a little complacent. It was rare for him to bring Bai Jingtian and the other two to Lingyin College, so he naturally had to introduce them. Using this opportunity, Lingyin College was able to prove to everyone just how strong they were. Hearing Lin Yinghao's words, Chu Jio and the others understood Lin Yinghao's thoughts. Speaking of which, the Lingyin College did indeed have very outstanding strength, but their show-off method made them speechless. The reason why they had come to participate in the alchemy competition was all because they wanted to understand the situation of the alchemists from the three academies. If they were only helping Lingyin College, they would not have any interest. However, after hearing Lin Yinghao's words, the eyes of Bai Jingtian and the others who were not interested in it all along lit up. According to the information they had obtained, Bailey Hongzhuang was a cultivator of the Azure Water School. Up until now, they did not know the principal of Azure Water School. That's great. Bai Jingtian smiled. Seeing Bai Jingtian give him so much face, Lin Yinghao was somewhat flattered. It wasn't that he hadn't interacted with Bai Jingtian and the other two before, but with their arrogant personalities, even if he was the vice principal of Lingyin College, they couldn't care more. He didn't expect Bai Jingtian and the other two to be so easy to get along with at this year's Academy Exchange meeting. Principal Tsang, these three are our Qinshao nation's most famous inscriptionists, Bai Jingtian, Ji Yunma, and Qin Qinggu. After introducing the identities of Bai Jingtian and the others, Lin Yinghao turned to Bai Jingtian and the others and said, "This is the principal of North Sea Academy, Tsang Hongxi. I've heard of the three of you for a long time. I didn't expect to see you today." Tsang Hongxi's face didn't seem to be the slightest bit fake as he complimented. Bai Jingtian's group of three also revealed a smile. The North Sea Academy is also well known. We really admire it. Tsang Hongxi originally wanted to say a few more words, but the expressions on Bai Jingtian and the other two were clearly not very interested. Seeing this, Tsang Hongxi wouldn't bring himself to be bored. Otherwise, if he provoked the other party's disgust, it would be bad. When Huan Chuyu saw Lin Yinghao walking towards him, a helpless expression appeared on his face. Although he knew that Lin Yinghao was here to show off, he had no choice. This is Azure Water School's vice principal, Huan Chuyu. Lin Yinghao looked complacently at Huan Chuyu. He wanted to use this opportunity to let Azure Water School understand how big the gap between them and Lingyin College was. Jian Qingqiu also revealed a smile on her face. Even though yesterday's advancement to Spirit Concealment Academy had failed, in his eyes, Spirit Concealment Academy only needed Nangong Aochen alone. With Nangong Aochen's strength, no matter if it was Azure Water School or North Sea School, there was no student council that was his opponent. Huan Chuyu smiled. Although he didn't have any feelings for Lingyin College, he still admired the inscription master. Just as Huan Chuyu was about to speak, Bai Jingtian walked over to him with great enthusiasm, ignoring Lin Yinghao. "You're the vice principal of Azure Water School. I've heard a lot about you." Bai Jingtian smiled. "I've heard about Azure Water School's reputation before, but I've never seen it before. Your students are extremely outstanding." Chapter 808, Rank 2 Pill, Heaven-Mending Pill. Ji Yunma also smiled. Bailey Hongzhuang was a student of the Azure Water School, so their attitude towards Huan Chuyu naturally wasn't bad. In reality, they were very happy that Azure Water School would be able to bring Bailey Hongzhuang to participate in the exchange competition. Otherwise, the three of them wouldn't know how long they would be troubled by the previous problems. Lin Yinghao was stunned. What was going on? Azure Water School was nothing more than a school that had just passed away. How could Bai Jingtian and the others be so enthusiastic about Huan Chuyu? This was too strange. Huan Chuyu was stunned as well. He had no idea what had happened. Before today, he had never met Bai Jingtian and the others, let alone any friendship. From the way Bai Jingtian and the other two treated Tsang Hongxi, it could be seen that they weren't naturally passionate people, but why was it that they treated him like this? However, no matter what, this was a good thing for Huan Chuyu. He immediately smiled and said, "Many thanks. I've admired the three great masters for a long time. I am very happy to be able to meet them today." Hearing Huan Chuyou's words, Bai Jingtian and the other two smiled. Old Huan is an alchemist. We heard from Old Chen and the others before. We'll have to contact him from time to time. Huan Chuyu nodded repeatedly. Of course. Jian Qingqiu's expression turned extremely ugly. He wanted to use this opportunity to make Huan Chuyu and the others envious. He hadn't expected that Bai Jingtian and the other two would treat Huan Chuyu even more warmly than he did. Although he felt that it was extremely strange, he understood after hearing Bai Jingtian and the others talking. The reason why Bai Jingtian and the others were so polite to Huan Chuyu was because he was a fourth-rank alchemist and a friend of Chen Yiyu and the others. A hint of dissatisfaction appeared in Jian Qingqiu's eyes. She hadn't expected Huan Chuyu to be quite lucky. Instead, Chen Yiyu and the other two could not help but look at each other. The reactions of Bai Jingtian and the other two were really too strange. There was definitely something that they did not know about. On the high platform, Bailey Hongzhuang slowly took out the medicinal ingredients and placed them on a table. The medicinal ingredients she had brought this time only required medicinal ingredients for rank 2 pills. Although she had broken through to the Xiantian realm and her alchemy arts had improved, she had never refined a rank 3 pill. He hadn't refined it for a long time, and there was a high chance that he would fail the first time. Furthermore, with her age, if she had refined a grade 3 pill, it would cause quite a stir. After all, such a result could no longer be described as outstanding. Instead, it was exaggerated. Thus, after thinking about it, Bailey Hongzhuang still decided to refine a rank 2 pill, the Heaven Mending Pill. Although the Heaven Mending Pill was a Tier 2 medicinal pill, the difficulty of refining it was only slightly lower than a Tier 3 medicinal pill. Its grade was much higher than an ordinary Tier 2 medicinal pill. Whether it was Lu Qinyue or Wei Hanyun, they were both second-rank alchemists. As for Qi Junnan, although she didn't know Qi Junnan's level of alchemy, she was certain that he was at most a second-rank alchemist. As such, she shouldn't be lacking in refining the Heaven Mending Pill. The Heaven Mending Pill could be said to be a great tonic for cultivators. It had a certain increase in strength and was only effective for those at the Red Realm. However, after consuming the Heaven Mending Pill, it would depend on the level of the cultivator. Chapter 809, How Could He Not Be Envied? Bailey Hongzhuang and the others' speed was very fast. After preparing the medicinal ingredients, they began to refine pills. With a thought, the flame of the pill furnace was ignited. After the cold air in the furnace dissipated and the temperature in the furnace stabilized, Bailey Hongzhuang placed the first medicinal ingredient into the furnace. Refining medicinal pills also tested one's temper. However, after refining the different medicinal ingredients into their essence, they were fused together. Hence, the complexity was much higher than refining medicinal ingredients. Time slowly passed. Bailey Hongzhuang and the others were also methodically refining medicinal pills. Other than the occasional sound of medicinal ingredients being refined, there was nothing else. When the onlookers saw Bailey Hongzhuang and the others concentrating on refining pills, they felt a bit more emotional. As expected, alchemists were not something that anyone could do. Just focusing on them for such a long time was already extremely tiring. Although no movement could be seen on the high platform, everyone did not find it boring. After all, the medicinal pills refined by alchemists were extremely important treasures to them. Every time she finished refining the essence of one medicinal ingredient, Bailey Hongzhuang would place another medicinal ingredient within it. Her indifferent expression was as if she was doing it with ease. Compared to Bailey Hongzhuang's ease, Qi Junnan and the others seemed to be a bit nervous. Seeing this scene, everyone felt a little surprised. Previously, everyone had thought that Bailey Hongzhuang was only half-baked. However, they never expected that Bailey Hongzhuang's score would be the highest. As long as Bailey Hongzhuang was able to perform well in the third round, then it was very likely that Bailey Hongzhuang would be first in the alchemy competition. At the thought of this, everyone felt a little crazy. The first place in the alchemy competition had not been taken away by an alchemist, but had instead been taken away by a cultivator. This was probably the most miraculous alchemy competition. Now that they saw Bailey Hongzhuang's alchemy appearance, they were certain that Bailey Hongzhuang's alchemy skills were extremely outstanding. A cultivator with such outstanding cultivation talent was actually an alchemist. They didn't know how Bailey Hongzhuang managed to develop both of them so well. Bailey Hongzhuang was truly too enviable. After all, in the process of cultivation, pill refinement was essential. Many cultivators suffered from not having any pills, yet Bailey Hongzhuang was able to be self-sufficient. How could she not be envied? I wonder what kind of medicinal pill Hongzhuang is refining this time around. I am rather curious. Xia Jiqing's eyes flickered with excitement. Every time Hongzhuang took out something, it was a good treasure. She didn't know what kind of pills she would refine this time. I believe that the pills refined by Hongzhuang and Qingyue will not be bad. Although the first 2 rounds of the competition were somewhat unexpected, the third round of the pill refinement was something that was common in every pill refinement competition. The vice principal should have made quite a bit of preparations for Qingyue as well. I think we'll probably win this year's alchemy competition. Zhang Yinfeng's face was filled with smiles. Given the current situation, the Azure Water School had the greatest chance of winning. Although the alchemy competition was no match for the cultivator competition, it would be good as long as they obtained first place. When Zhang Yinfeng and Xia Jiqing were talking, Gong Xiaoqing's eyes fell on Bai Jingtian and the others. Chapter 8-10, Grade 2 Pill, Condensation Pill. According to Gong Xiaoqing's observation, he discovered that Bai Jingtian and the other 3 inscription masters were very close to the vice principal. Moreover, these 3 inscription masters would occasionally look at Bailey Hongzhuang. When he saw this scene, he couldn't help but have a guess. Perhaps, these 3 grandmasters were here for Hongzhuang. After all, Bailey Hongzhuang's performance that day shocked the 3 grandmasters. After pondering for a moment, Gong Xiaoqing didn't reveal his thoughts in the end. Because even if he said it, no one would believe it. Wei Hanyan's gaze shifted slightly, and a fierce light appeared in his eyes as he looked at Bailey Hongzhuang. He didn't even know that Bailey Hongzhuang had a good level of pill refinement. If it wasn't for Bailey Hongzhuang, he wouldn't have fallen to the ground in the second round. After all, he had come for the first place in the alchemy competition. Although there weren't many people participating in the alchemy competition, as long as he won the first place, his future path would be much smoother. And because of Bailey Hongzhuang's existence, he was actually ranked 3rd. Yet, Bailey Hongzhuang was ranked 1st. It was simply intolerable. Wei Hanyan's gaze then landed on Bailey Hongzhuang's pill furnace. Regardless of what the results of the first 2 rounds were, he wanted Bailey Hongzhuang to fail in the 3rd round. When Xiao He sensed Wei Hanyan's gaze, he knew that this fellow's thoughts weren't good. However, during the process of refining pills, it wasn't worried that Wei Hanyan would cause damage like the 2nd round. Such trash was destined to be a stepping stone for their master. Under such circumstances, the 3rd round of everyone's refinement of the medicinal pill was surprisingly smooth. None of them had any problems. Suddenly, a dense medicinal fragrance came from Lu Qinyue's pill furnace. When they smelled this medicinal fragrance, everyone felt their spirits rise and their spirits became much stronger. Clearly, this was a sign that the pill was about to take shape. Huan Chuyo's face revealed a smile. He had long since been prepared for the 3rd round. He hadn't made it the hardest for Lu Qinyue to refine. Most importantly, Lu Qinyue's ability could only produce the highest level. Lu Qinyue, Bailey Hongzhuang, and Wei Hanyan's strengths were comparable. Only Qi Junnan was slightly weaker. Huan Chuyu could clearly see that Jian Qingqiu's plan was to allow the Northern Sea Academy to take first place in the alchemy competition and the Spirit Concealment Academy to take first place in the cultivators competition. As a result, both academies were extremely famous, and only the Azure Water School was at a disadvantage. However, Jian Qingqiu was able to obtain the first place in the alchemy competition today. The moment the medicinal fragrance of Lu Qinyue's pill furnace came out, the same came from Wei Hanyun's pill furnace. The two kinds of rich medicinal fragrance interweaved together, causing everyone to be intoxicated. The effect of the pill was naturally not something to say. Just the smell alone was also beneficial to cultivators. However, Huan Chuyou's expression couldn't help but change a bit when he smelled the familiar pill fragrance. His gaze towards Wei Hanyun also flashed with surprise. If his prediction was correct, Wei Hanyun had refined the jade condensation pill. The Jadify pill, a grade 2 medicinal pill, could help cultivators condense their spirit energy, allowing the spirit energy in their dantian to condense and store more spirit energy. This might seem to be of little use, but it was actually very helpful to cultivators. Chapter 8:11, Definitely Win. Although the jade condensation pill was a grade 2 pill, it was not far from a grade 3 pill. Huan Chuyu hadn't expected that he had underestimated Wei Hanyun's strength. According to the information he'd received earlier, Wei Hanyun's strength shouldn't be enough to refine a jade condensation pill. In this way, although Lu Qinyue had successfully refined a medicinal pill, she would still lose to Wei Hanyun after doubling her points in the third round. Thinking of this, Huan Chuyou's expression couldn't help but turn ugly. He didn't expect this to happen in the end. He didn't know how North Sea Academy managed to find an alchemist like Wei Hanyun. He had always been extremely confident in Lu Qinyue's strength. With her age, she was also extremely powerful. Unfortunately, Wei Hanyun was several years older than Lu Qinyue, and Lu Qinyue suffered a loss. Seeing Huan Chuyou's gloomy face, Zhang Hongxi couldn't help but reveal a smile. The first two matches had caused him to be extremely worried. He hadn't expected that Wei Hanyun's pill refinement technique would be as outstanding as Jian Qingqiu had said. Although he didn't know anything about alchemy, he could tell from the change in Huan Chuyou's expression that the Northern Sea Academy would definitely win this alchemy competition. Jian Qingqiu's expression was indifferent. Although Lingyin College's alchemist's performance wasn't satisfactory, what he cared more about was the cultivator competition. As for the alchemist competition, it didn't matter if they let it out. The North Sea Academy will probably win this match. Chu Jiyo slowly spoke. The jade condensation pill was already of the highest quality among rank 2 medicinal pills. It was extremely difficult to defeat him. Chen Yu nodded. Wei Hanyun's strength is indeed not bad. In the future, he should be a character in the alchemy world. To them, it didn't matter who won or lost. They were just happy that an extraordinary fellow had risen up in the alchemy world. Although in terms of talent, Wei Hanyun was still no match for Lu Qinyue, compared to ordinary alchemists, Wei Hanyun was already outstanding enough. Wei Hanyun's face was full of pride. He was determined to win this pill refinement competition. He wasn't unfamiliar with the pills that Lu Qinyue refined. Although the Profound Origin pill was also a grade 2 pill, the difficulty of refining it wasn't as high as the refining jade pill, and the effect wasn't as good as the refining jade pill. Thus, he was certain to win this competition. Ding! Lu Qinyue opened the lid of the furnace and an even denser medicinal fragrance wafted out. The cultivators under the high platform greedily absorbed this medicinal fragrance and were extremely intoxicated. Lu Qinyue slowly placed the medicinal pill into a white porcelain bottle. Only then did she quietly stand to the side. She had already finished refining the medicinal pill in the third round. However, her gaze shifted slightly. When she noticed Huan Chuyou's gloomy expression, her originally good mood changed a bit. She was very satisfied with her performance, but since her master had revealed such an expression, she was afraid. Wei Hanyan's pills were even more advanced. Thinking up to here, Lu Qinyue's face turned ugly as well. However, it was already too late to refine the pills again. Could it be, she was going to miss her victory just like that? Ding! Wei Hanyun also finished refining the pill. As the pill furnace opened, a dense medicinal fragrance spread out, and Lu Qinyue's expression changed a bit. She hadn't paid too much attention to the medicinal pill she had refined earlier, but now that she smelled it, she had already confirmed the answer. Chapter 8:12, Alchemy, Successively Completed Jade Condensation Pill. This was the medicinal fragrance of the condensation pill. The jade condensation pill was very famous among grade 2 pills. She had smelled this fragrance when her master was refining the jade condensation pill. The reason why she had outstanding talent in alchemists was because her sense of smell was sensitive enough. When she was identifying the medicinal ingredients, she was able to judge them by just smelling their scent. It was precisely because of this that she was certain that this medicinal fragrance belonged to the jade condensation pill. Shockingly, she discovered that she had underestimated Wei Hanyun. After Wei Hanyun successfully refined the jade condensation pill, the profound origin pill she had refined no longer had any meaning. She would definitely lose this competition. When she thought up to here, Lu Qinyue felt extremely depressed in her heart. She wanted to win glory for Azure Water School in this world. At this moment, she didn't even dare to look at the students who had confidence in her. She had always been a genius alchemist in everyone's eyes, and everyone was filled with confidence in her. However, she had actually lost to Wei Hanyun of Azure Water School today. Everyone would probably be disappointed in her. After seeing Lu Qinyue's ugly expression, Wei Hanyun's mood became incomparably good. After today, he would become famous. Why do I feel that something is not quite right? Cui Haoyan frowned and followed his gaze. He noticed that the vice principal and Lu Qinyue's expressions weren't very good. Obviously, something unexpected had happened. Hearing Cui Haoyan's words, everyone also looked at the high platform. This time, everyone also noticed the problem Cui Haoyan had mentioned. If it wasn't for the fact that the situation wouldn't have happened, Lu Qinyue wouldn't have revealed such a look. Could it be, Lu Qinyue lost this competition? Zhang Yunfeng said in a low voice. Even though this competition was not over yet, everyone knew who the higher the grade of the pill, the better the result. Lu Qinyue's expression was definitely because the pills she refined were not as good as Wei Hanyun's. That would be terrible. Bai Junyu's voice sank. Their performance in the first 2 rounds could be said to be the best. He hadn't expected that Wei Hanyun would actually be able to turn the tables in the 3rd round. Don't worry, Hongzhuang's pills haven't finished yet. Perhaps Hongzhuang's pills will be stronger than Wei Hanyun's. Xia Jiqing had a blind faith in Bailey Hongzhuang. Ever since she met Bailey Hongzhuang, she had never been disappointed in her. On the high platform, Bailey Hongzhuang's expression remained indifferent. She was neither arrogant nor impatient, neither slow nor slow. Her methodical appearance did not make anyone feel the slightest bit nervous. On the contrary, it was a kind of pleasant enjoyment. Xia Jiqing believed that Bailey Hongzhuang's confidence was there, otherwise she wouldn't be so calm. Everyone looked at Xia Jiqing. Although they didn't understand why Xia Jiqing trusted Bailey Hongzhuang so much, Bailey Hongzhuang was already their only hope. Ding! Another pill furnace opened. Qi Junnan successfully finished refining the pill. With a smile on her face, she took the pill out of the furnace and placed it into a white porcelain bottle. However, the 3 of them had already finished refining the pill. Bailey Hongzhuang was the only one left. Her pill furnace hadn't even emitted any medicinal fragrance. The Azure Water School's people couldn't help but feel a bit anxious. Time passed by. There wasn't much time left until the end of the third round. Bailey Hongzhuang has yet to be refined. Will she directly fail? Chapter 8:13, Rank 3 Pill. As time passed, Huan Chuyo's expression changed a bit. Bailey Hongzhuang had indeed been refining pills for a long time. Although Bailey Hongzhuang hadn't finished the second-rank alchemist exam in the Alchemist Association, he believed that Bailey Hongzhuang had already reached the level of a second-rank alchemist. Merely, most of the time required to refine a rank 2 pill was about the same. It was a bit strange that Bailey Hongzhuang hadn't finished refining it for so long. The smile on Song Hongxi's face grew deeper and deeper. Lu Qingyue was already destined to be Wei Hanyan's defeat. As for Bailey Hongzhuang, she probably wouldn't even be able to complete it, let alone surpassing Wei Hanyan. Old Huan, your academy's Bailey Hongzhuang seems to be a bit of a thunderous person. Song Hongxi's voice was filled with ridicule and complacency. It was because he felt nervous because of Bailey Hongzhuang's appearance earlier. From the looks of it, all his worries were unnecessary. Even if Azure Water School had achieved good results in the first 2 matches, so what? The most important thing for an alchemist was refining pills. What use was Bailey Hongzhuang's ability to distinguish and refine medicinal ingredients? The more eye-catching the previous performance, the worse the results of the third round would be. No matter how much the Azure Water School wanted to achieve good results in this exchange competition, it was all in vain. Jian Qingqiu's face also revealed a smile. Although the Alchemy Competition's Spirit Concealment Academy was probably the last place, the Alchemy Competition had never been an important event for the Academy. As long as Nangong Aochen defeated all his opponents tomorrow, the Spirit Concealment Academy would still be a glorious place. Hongzhuang's pills haven't been refined yet. What should we do? Xia Jiqing couldn't help but cross her hands, her eyes filled with worry. Hongzhuang was now the only hope of Azure Water School. Could it be that something unexpected happened during the process of refining pills? Bai Junyu frowned. If Bailey Hongzhuang did not succeed at the last moment, that would be terrible. I don't even know the ending until the last moment. Gong Shaoqing slowly spoke. His usually cold and expressionless face was now faintly stained with a trace of bigotry. From the moment they arrived at Lingyin College, it had already been a bitter battle. Until the last moment, they would not admit defeat. Chu Jio and the other 2 exchanged glances. Surprise appeared in their eyes. According to their senses, there seemed to be no problem with the pills in Bailey Hongzhuang's pill furnace. As for Bailey Hongzhuang, she didn't make any mistakes in the process of refining. As such, it could only be said that Bailey Hongzhuang needed a long time to refine the pill. Amongst rank 2 medicinal pills, there are not many medicinal pills that require such a long time. Lin Hao frowned slightly. This amount of time was comparable to the time required to refine a Tier 3 medicinal pill. Could this girl be refining a Tier 3 medicinal pill? Hearing Lin Hao's words, Bai Jingtian could not help but ask. He did not know anything about pill refinement techniques. However, if Bailey Hongzhuang were to truly refine a rank 3 pill, it would be truly heaven-defying. This way, it would be even more difficult for him to snatch Bailey Hongzhuang from the Inscription Association. Chu Jio shook his head slightly. With a light smile, he said, "No, judging from the fluctuations, Bailey Hongzhuang is refining a rank 2 pill." Chapter 8:14, Bewitching Prince Spoils His Wife, Genius Doctor and Scrupulous Consort Geek, Bailey Hongzhuang. Saying that, Chu Jio couldn't help but glance at Bai Jingtian. At this moment, she finally understood that Bai Jingtian was not paying ordinary attention to Bailey Hongzhuang. Could it be? Bailey Hongzhuang was the person Bai Jingtian was looking for when he came to Lingyin Academy this time. She and Bai Jingtian had known each other for a long time. Ordinary people would not attract Bai Jingtian's attention. She really couldn't understand what was so special about Bailey Hongzhuang that could attract Bai Jingtian's attention. Chen Yiyu did not notice Bai Jingtian's difference in attitude, and his eyes were constantly on Bailey Hongzhuang. In my opinion, although Bailey Hongzhuang's medicinal pill is a rank 2 pill, I am afraid that it is not far from a rank 3 pill. If Bailey Hongzhuang can successfully refine it within the specified time, then she takes first place in the alchemy competition. If not, then Wei Hanyun takes first place. Chen Yiyu observed Bailey Hongzhuang's every move. At this moment, everyone else had completed it and only Bailey Hongzhuang was left refining. Usually under such circumstances an alchemist would be very nervous. However, from Bailey Hongzhuang's demeanor, he could not see the slightest bit of nervousness. Bailey Hongzhuang seemed to ignore all her surroundings, nothing affecting her in the slightest. For alchemists, this kind of mentality is extremely important, and this also reflected Bailey Hongzhuang's self-confidence. Chen Yiyu suddenly discovered that he might have underestimated Bailey Hongzhuang before, because the identity of Bailey Hongzhuang as a cultivator was too confusing. It is not that there are no people who are cultivators and alchemists. Lu Qingyue is one like this, but in the end everyone will choose a path to focus on. However, this Bailey Hongzhuang is an outlier. Not only did she develop both skills, but even achieved results in both areas that are difficult for others to achieve. Being able to become a rank 2 pharmacist at Lu Qinyue's age already amazed them, but Bailey Hongzhuang seems to be a little younger than Lu Qinyue. If Bailey Hongzhuang can really make a rank 2 pill that is close to a rank 3 pill, then her talent in pill making is simply unbelievable. This kind of skill level was achieved when Bailey Hongzhuang was distracted by cultivation. If Bailey Hongzhuang concentrated on alchemy, then her achievement. Chen Yiyu couldn't imagine it. Thinking of this, Chen Yiyu's eyes couldn't help but glow with a fiery light. If Bailey Hongzhuang is really such a genius, he must have Bailey Hongzhuang concentrate on alchemy. Ji Yunma also noticed the fiery look in Chen Yiyu's eyes and couldn't help but secretly murmur, "This is bad." They understand this kind of fiery look well, as they will only do this after seeing exceptionally good seedlings. In fact, Ji Yunma's surprise was stronger than Chen Yiyu's. He didn't understand, what did this girl, Bailey Hongzhuang, eat to grow up? Her level of cultivation is very strong, and her attainments in inscription are very outstanding. She even has mastered this alchemy technique. At her age it is impossible to master so many things even if she didn't sleep. However, Bailey Hongzhuang has mastered it. But, what he likes most are geeks like this. Bailey Hongzhuang was engrossed in her pill refinement. Although Lu Qinyue and the others had already refined their pills, she was not nervous. From the moment she chose to refine the heaven-mending pill, she had already realized that such a situation would occur. Chapter 8:15, Bewitching Prince Spoils His Wife, Genius Doctor and Scrupulous Consort. This is going to blow up the furnace. The higher the level of the pill, the longer it takes to refine. After understanding the competition time limit, she had already calculated that there was time to refine the heaven-mending pill. Just when everyone decided that Bailey Hongzhuang would not be able to finish the competition, suddenly, a refreshing medicinal fragrance emerged from Bailey Hongzhuang's pill furnace. When they smelled this medicinal fragrance, everyone's eyes lit up. The medicinal fragrance seemed to be more intense than that of Lu Qinyue and Wei Hanyun. Greedily absorbing the medicinal fragrance, everyone only felt that under the effect of this medicinal fragrance, their bodies felt refreshed. After Huan Chuyu smelled the fragrance of the pill, his originally slightly solemn face once again glowed with glory. If he is right, Bailey Hongzhuang made the heaven-mending pill. The heaven-mending pill is very famous among the rank 2 pills, and is also of great help to cultivators, but the pill formula of the heaven-mending pill is only in the hands of a very small number of alchemists. Even he had never mastered the heaven-mending pill recipe. Among the second-rank pills there are not many pills that can outperform the jade condensing pill, but this heaven-mending pill is one of them. As long as Bailey Hongzhuang can complete the heaven-mending pill, then Bailey Hongzhuang will become the well-deserved number one. While Huan Chuyu was rejoicing, he also felt a bit of emotion in his heart. He thought that Lu Qinyue's ability in this alchemy competition was very likely to win, but he didn't expect that the final key would turn out to be Bailey Hongzhuang. No one could guess this. Wei Hanyan's eyes changed a bit after smelling the fragrance of the pill. He really underestimated Bailey Hongzhuang before, but he didn't expect her alchemy skills to be so exquisite. It seems that this time Kanglen Academy also used a method to blind everyone and make all of them focus on Lu Qinyue. In fact, Bailey Hongzhuang is the real trump card. Fortunately, he was already prepared. Even if Bailey Hongzhuang has mastered a higher level of alchemy, so what? As long as the pill cannot be refined, all of Bailey Hongzhuang's efforts will be in vain. There was a look of excitement in Xiao He and Xiao Bai's eyes as the master's pill was about to be successfully refined. Guys like Wei Hanyan, kill them instantly. However, just when the pill was about to be successfully refined, Bailey Hongzhuang suddenly frowned. Because she found that this pill furnace could not withstand the hottest temperature right before the pill is formed. In the process of alchemy, the highest temperature occurs before the pill is formed. According to common sense, even if the level of the heaven-mending pill is slightly higher than that of ordinary second-rank pills, it is impossible for this pill furnace to not withstand the temperature. Unless someone did something. At that moment, Bailey Hongzhuang was sure that someone must have done something to her pill furnace. If it weren't for this, the pill furnace would definitely be able to withstand this temperature. Huan Chuyu and others also noticed the sudden change in Bailey Hongzhuang's expression. Logically speaking, there should be no problem with the successful refining of Bailey Hongzhuang's pill, but the sudden change in Bailey Hongzhuang's expression indicated that something must have gone wrong. Gotcha. A crisp and subtle sound came to everyone's ears, and the faces of Huan Chuyu and the others all suddenly changed. This is going to blow up the furnace. Chu Jio judged the situation immediately, but her expression was unbelieving. Alchemists are not strangers to explosions, but it is impossible for Bailey Hongzhuang in this situation to blow up her furnace. Chapter 8:16, Bewitching Prince Spoils His Wife, Genius Doctor and Scrupulous Consort Shameless Conspiracy. What's going on here? There's something wrong with Hongzhuang's pill furnace. Zhan Yunfeng's expression changed. She didn't understand how such a problem could occur if the pill was refined well. Xia Jiqing and others felt a sudden tension. During this critical process of alchemy, if there was a problem with the alchemy furnace, wouldn't the elixirs that were about to be successfully refined also be ruined? Haha, how can a cultivator's alchemy be good? It's funny that the furnace is going to blow up. The cultivators of Lingyin Academy laughed mercilessly. The explosion of a furnace could only be caused by the lack of skill of the pill refiner. Bailey Hongzhuang dares to participate in the alchemy competition with such a level of skill. Isn't it deliberately creating an amusement for us? I'm afraid Kanglen Academy will be disgraced now. The first 2 rounds are equal to this 3rd round and she can't even make medicinal pills. After Xia Jiqing heard the conversations of the people around her, her face could not help but become ugly, and she immediately wanted to argue with them, but Cui Haoyan stopped her. There are so many people in Lingyin Academy, she wouldn't be able to win and it would just be a waste of time. Seeing this, Xia Jiqing's face was still filled with indignation, and she could only hold it in. She believed that this definitely was not caused by Hongzhuang, someone must have done something to this pill furnace. Huan Chuyu's face turned gloomy. It was absolutely impossible for this pill furnace to be unable to withstand the temperature of the second-rank pill, and the only explanation was that someone had tampered with Bailey Hongzhuang's pill furnace. Before Huan Chuyu could speak, Chu Jio was the first to say, "Principal Jian, Bailey Hongzhuang's pill furnace has been tampered with, this competition is not fair." Hearing this, a look of surprise appeared in Jian Qingqiu's eyes. Tampered with? How is this possible? But none of them could believe that this matter had nothing to do with Jian Qingqiu. This is Lingyin Academy, and this pill furnace was also supplied by Lingyin Academy. Who would believe that it had nothing to do with Jian Qingqiu? Principal Jian, it is too much for someone to deal with this type of situation. Huan Chuyu said with a cold face. If this change hadn't happened, Bailey Hongzhuang, who was in first place in the alchemy competition at that time, would have been destroyed by the opponent's actions. As the vice president of Kanglin Academy, how could he bear it? Compared with Huan Chuyu's rage, Jian Qingqiu looked a little calmer, and deliberately put an apologetic look on his face. I don't know anything about this. Elder Huan, don't worry, I will definitely investigate. However, let's wait until the end of this alchemy competition to find the cause. It is not appropriate to leave the table now. As Jian Qingqiu's voice fell, Huan Chuyu's face became even more ugly. Jian Qingqiu's meaning was very clear. He will find out who did it, but only after the alchemy competition is over, when the outcome has already been decided. By then, even if Jian Qingqiu casually prevaricated behind the scenes, what would be the point? Everyone focuses on the final result. No one would care much about this conspiracy. This is equivalent to making Kanglin Academy suffer a loss in silence. However, what Jian Qingqiu said also irrefutable. Because they found out too late, it was impossible to repeat the alchemy competition. Chapter 8:17, Bewitching Prince Spoils His Wife. Genius Doctor and Scrupulous Consort by Jing Tian helps Chu Jio's heart sank slightly, and there was a hint of sympathy in her eyes. They didn't expect that Bailey Hongzhuang would be targeted like this. Now that it was the last competition, it could be seen from Jian Qingqiu's attitude that he would never in 100 years declare the third competition invalid because of this. As a result, Kanglin Academy can only suffer from this loss in silence. Even if they all feel that Kanglin Academy is wronged, this is often the reality. It is not that they have never encountered such a situation. Competition is competition, and many people have lost due to such conspiracies. It's just that they didn't expect Lingyin Academy to be so bold. Even though they knew what was going on, they had no proof. Huan Chuyu tightly clenched his fists. The current situation made him feel so powerless. In fact, Kanglin's situation has been like this for years. Without strength, there is no ability to refute. Kanglin Academy does not have enough clout among the three academies, otherwise Lingyin Academy would not dare to be so blatant. It's nothing for him to bear this, but letting the students endure such an unfair attitude because of the powerlessness of the academy, how can he face Bailey Hongzhuang? Both Jian Qingqiu and Song Hongxi didn't care. This world has always been like this, where the weak eat the strong and the fittest survive. With the current status of Kanglin Academy, they have no right to speak. Even if they are wronged, what could they do? Elder Huan, think about it. Lin Hao patted Huan Chuyu on the shoulder. In this situation, they had no choice. Although Bai Jingtian had always hoped that Bailey Hongzhuang would not be taken too seriously by the people of the Alchemist Guild, he could not bear to see such Lingyin Academy's attitude any longer. Bailey Hongzhuang was a junior he greatly admired. How could he watch Bailey Hongzhuang suffer such injustice? Since someone has tampered with Bailey Hongzhuang's pill furnace, it proves that this competition is unfair, and it is natural to redo the competition. Otherwise, if the framed person can only suffer from the loss, then in my opinion, in the future academy exchange competitions, there is no need for real strength. Just think of ways to eliminate your opponents. Principal Jian, is this the purpose of the alchemy competition held by your Lingyin Academy? Bai Jingtian was unceremonious as he didn't regularly have much intersection with Lingyin Academy, and he didn't need bow down to Lingyin Academy. Since he couldn't stand it, he would be blunt. As Bai Jingtian's voice fell, Jian Qingqiu was dumbfounded. He couldn't understand why Bai Jingtian would suddenly speak up for Huan Chuyu. Yes, if it's not fair, let's compete again, otherwise the champion of this alchemy competition will be questionable. Ji Yunma also said. Bailey Hongzhuang helped him solve a problem that he had never been able to comprehend. He hadn't had a chance to thank Bailey Hongzhuang. Now that something like this happened, how could he keep silent? Although Qin Qingwu did not speak, he nodded in agreement. This is why he didn't like dealing with people like Jian Qingqiu. These people never value the truth, and they use trickery behind the scenes. With his personality, he didn't know how many things he missed when he communicated with Jian Qingqiu and others, but this time, Lingyin Academy had gone too far. Jian Qingqiu was dumbfounded. What is happening? Chapter 8:18, Bewitching Prince Spoils His Wife, Genius Doctor and Scrupulous Consort. Who did it? It stands to reason that since Bai Jingtian and the others have no friendship with Huan Chuyu, they should not be helping him like this. Could it be that Bai Jingtian and the others are just plain blind? Thinking of this, Jian Qingqiu was speechless for a while. He only felt that Bai Jingtian and others had been absorbed in their research and did not know how to adapt at all. They were completely stubborn. The people present are all discerning people, and no one is unclear about what is going on here. The members of the Alchemist Guild had not spoken up, but the Inscription Guild Master had acted as a righteous person. Is this not finding trouble? Huan Chuyu also didn't expect that Bai Jingtian and the others who they had only met for the first time would speak up for Kanglin Academy and couldn't help but feel moved. Jian Qingqiu and Lin Yinghao looked at each other. This was really a dilemma. Had they known this would happen, they would not have invited Bai Jingtian and the others up. In this way, there wouldn't have been such a mishap. Obviously, regret is useless. After thinking for a moment, Jian Qingqiu said, "Let's take a look first." Bailey Hongzhuang's expression had changed the moment she felt that the furnace was going to blow up. Before starting the alchemy, she had already checked the pill furnace and only started refining after confirming that the pill furnace was fine. It's just that she didn't expect the other party to hide his tampering such that she didn't feel the slightest problem, and it only appeared at the last moment. Ordinary people would not know how to do this, and the only person who would know this trick is an alchemist. Almost immediately, Bailey Hongzhuang knew that this must be the work of Wei Hanyun. No wonder Wei Hanyun didn't say anything after suffering a loss in the previous round. He had already determined the result of this round. Thinking of this, a fierce look appeared in Bailey Hongzhuang's eyes. She had always been someone who took revenge, and this matter would not be forgotten. Wei Hanyun's eyes lit up with pride. The explosion of a furnace is a very dangerous thing. If Bailey Hongzhuang does not retreat immediately, the aftermath of the explosion would affect Bailey Hongzhuang, likely causing a serious injury. However, once Bailey Hongzhuang retreats, her medicinal pill will also turn into ashes. Boom! An explosion sounded. Bailey Hongzhuang's figure flew quickly, and Lu Qingyue and the others also stepped back a few steps, avoiding the power of the explosion. Lu Qingyue's face was very ugly. This situation exceeded all of their expectations. The pills refined by Bailey Hongzhuang were completely useless. In the end, this alchemy competition was lost. The smile on Wei Hanyun's face became brighter and more arrogant. Bailey Hongzhuang, no matter how you pretend to be extraordinary, your refinement of pills still fails. Cultivators should do the things that cultivators do well, and as for the alchemist's affairs, you should stay out of it. Chu Jiao and the others also sighed. This is the result after all. Wei Hanyun held his head high. He would take first place in this alchemy competition and his reputation will spread far and wide. Bailey Hongzhuang is just a stepping stone for him. The expressions of Xia Jiqing and the others changed one after the other, and they exploded in anger. This had never happened in previous alchemy competitions. Damn it! As I see it, in all probability this Wei Hanyun is the one who tampered with Hong Zhuang's pill furnace. Bai Junyu's eyes burned with anger. I knew from the first moment I saw this guy that he was no good. Chapter 819, Bewitching Prince Spoils His Wife, Genius Doctor and Scrupulous Consort. This girl is incredible. The cultivators of Beihai Academy cheered. This round of victory belongs to them. Under the high platform, Gu Yaoi, who was originally in a depressed mood, also smiled with joy after seeing this scene. Even though her performance in the alchemy competition was unsatisfactory, Wei Hanyun won and Beihai Academy won, so she was also proud. Although the practitioners of Lingyin Academy knew that they were at the bottom, they were still happy, because the victory did not belong to Kanglin Academy. Just as Wei Hanyun was happily waiting for the alchemist judge to decide that he was first in the alchemy competition, Bailey Hongzhuang's cold voice rang out. Wei Hanyun, it's too early for you to be happy. Hearing this, Wei Hanyun couldn't help being startled, but the smile at the corner of his mouth did not change. Bailey Hongzhuang, what qualifications do you have to say such things to me as someone who hasn't even succeeded in refining a pill? Hongzhuang, you, Lu Qinyue couldn't help but exclaim after seeing Bailey Hongzhuang's situation. Her clear water-like eyes flashed with a strong color of incredulity. This was really unbelievable. The reason was that Bailey Hongzhuang's hand was burning with flames, and in the middle of the flames, a round and full pill was in it. When Wei Hanyun saw the pill in Bailey Hongzhuang's hand, he couldn't help but be stunned. How could this be possible? The pill furnace had already been blown up, but Bailey Hongzhuang was able to save the pill. This was absolutely impossible. However, Bailey Hongzhuang had evidence that nothing is impossible. Bailey Hongzhuang's eyes rippled with cold light. It was not that simple for Wei Hanyun to use such tactics to defeat her. 1 second before the explosion of the pill furnace, she took the pill out from it. Even she was not absolutely confident. The temperature of the pill before it is baked is critical. Without the pill furnace, she can only use the flame to achieve this temperature. Fortunately, she succeeded. What qualifications does a despicable guy like Wei Hanyun have to take first place in the alchemy competition? She will not let such a despicable villain succeed. Everyone present was stunned, staring blankly at the flame in Bailey Hongzhuang's hand. It was unbelievable. Chu Jio and others also widened their eyes. Bailey Hongzhuang's move really exceeded everyone's expectations. Even they may not be able to save the pill before the furnace explodes, but Bailey Hongzhuang did it. This alone was enough to prove how terrifying Bailey Hongzhuang's control over the flame is. This girl is unbelievable. A smile appeared on Chu Jio's face. With this level of control of the fire, she had to sigh at Bailey Hongzhuang's accomplishments in alchemy. Kanglin Academy has produced another genius pill refiner this time, and the extent of the surprise is the most they have seen in years. Huan Chuyu was also surprised at the sudden good news. Bailey Hongzhuang's performance could only be described as perfect. The three, including Bai Jingtian, looked at each other. They didn't expect this girl to be so accomplished in alchemy that even they had to marvel at it. Jian Qingqiu, Lin Yinghao, and Song Hongxi were the ones with the most ugly faces. It took them so much effort, yet they achieved this result. Bailey Hongzhuang actually solved this predicament. Doesn't it mean that everything they did before was meaningless? Chapter 820, Bewitching Prince Spoils His Wife, Genius Doctor and Scrupulous Consort. Test results. Under the shimmering golden sunlight, on top of the high platform, the woman in the white dress had a confident glow on her breathtaking and alluring face. Without moving her mind or body, Bailey Hongzhuang dampened the flame, and then put the pill into the white porcelain bottle. Bailey Hongzhuang shifted her gaze to look at Wei Hanyun, and an enchanting and charming smile lifted at the corners of her lips. Sorry, I ruined your plan. As Bailey Hongzhuang's voice fell, Wei Hanyan's face became extremely ugly. Bailey Hongzhuang's words were like a slap to the face. He had calculated everything, but in the end he still lost to Bailey Hongzhuang. Impossible. Even if your pill remains intact, the internal structure must have been destroyed. Wei Hanyan's eyes were filled with suspicion. He did not believe that Bailey Hongzhuang could still salvage the pill under such circumstances. Perhaps, Bailey Hongzhuang just used this method to muddle through. Bailey Hongzhuang shrugged and looked at Wei Hanyan with more than a hint of pity in her eyes. If that is what you think, you are destined for disappointment. Maybe Wei Hanyan's schemes could hurt others, but she would not give Wei Hanyan the opportunity. Bailey Hongzhuang's hand shocked many people, and everyone's eyes were filled with astonishment as they couldn't believe what they saw. This Bailey Hongzhuang is too powerful, this move is simply amazing. This is the first time I have seen such a thrilling event. At her level, refining pills should not blow up the furnace, As soon as those words were said, everyone who didn't already know the truth gradually understood. Bailey Hongzhuang's pill furnace had been tampered with. With the successful refining of Bailey Hongzhuang's pill, the three including Chu Jio slowly walked to the four contestants, including Bailey Hongzhuang. Now that the last round of the competition ended, the final results would be decided by the three of them. The judges walked up to Qi Junan first and opened the white porcelain bottle on Qi Junan's table. Second rank pill, bone cleansing pill, the pill is round and color is uniform. Hearing Chu Jio's words, a smile appeared on Qi Junan's face, and he was quite satisfied with his performance today. Everyone in Lingyin Academy applauded after hearing that Qi Junan had achieved such a result today. At Qi Junan's age, being able to refine a second-rank pill showed his unlimited future potential. Immediately afterwards, Chu Jio and the other judges came to Lu Qinyue. After checking the pill refined by Lu Qinyue, a light of satisfaction appeared in Chu Jio's eyes. They had always admired Lu Qinyue, who has an outstanding talent for alchemy. Second-ranked pill, Xian Yuan pill, the pill is round and the color is uniform. Lu Qinyue showed a gentle smile. With her current strength, refining the Xian Yuan pill was already considered very good, as this one had the highest level among the pills she had mastered. Qi Junan already understood the difference between himself and Lu Qinyue when he heard that Lu Qinyue refined the Xian Yuan pill. This time in the alchemy competition, he had taken a supporting role, and the victory had nothing to do with him. When the three including Chu Jio looked at the jade condensing pill that Wei Hanyan had refined confidently, a look of surprise also appeared in their eyes. Second-rank medicinal pill, jade condensing pill, the pill is round and color is uniform. Chapter 821, Bewitching Prince Spoils His Wife. Genius doctor and scrupulous consort really did it. Although they did not view Wei Hanyan's behavior positively, they had to recognize Wei Hanyan's accomplishments in alchemy. Among the second-rank pills, the refinement of the jade condensing pill is already extremely difficult, which means that as long as Wei Hanyan continues to work, Wei Hanyan is not far from breaking through to become a third-rank alchemist. When everyone under the high platform stage heard about these pills, their eyes reflected doubt. They were all second-rank pills, so they didn't know how to compare them for the results. Fortunately, there were some alchemists from Lingyin Academy in the audience, and they immediately explained the difference between the three pills. Everyone's eyes stayed on Wei Hanyan. Currently, Wei Hanyan's performance is the best. Who cares about the jade condensing pill? The pill made by Hongzhuang will be the best, Xia Jiqing said firmly. She believed that Hongzhuang would definitely defeat Wei Hanyan, this despicable villain. Seeing Xia Jiqing's blind worship, Zhang Yunfeng smiled helplessly, but her eyebrows reflected a little worry. If Hongzhuang's pill furnace hadn't exploded, then it would be okay to say this. I'm just worried that the explosion of her pill furnace will have an impact on the pill. As Zhang Yunfeng's voice fell, Gong Shaoqing and others' mood fell a bit heavier. They had also thought of this problem, but they still had a glimmer of hope in their hearts. Wei Hanyun sneered at Bailey Hongzhuang. He didn't believe that Bailey Hongzhuang could finish refining the pill if the furnace exploded. He was not intimidated. Bailey Hongzhuang's words could not affect him at all. This Wei Hanyun is really an idiot. Xiao He was looking at Wei Hanyun as if he was seeing an idiot. He had seen self-delusion, but he had never seen such blind self-delusion. He thinks that everyone is like him when he can't do it himself, but he won't be able to continue lying to himself in a little while. Xiao Bai raised his eyebrows, waiting for when this guy would fall into complete despair. Chu Jiao and the other judges stood in front of Bailey Hongzhuang. Bailey Hongzhuang's performance was too surprising. It's hard to judge. While Bailey Hongzhuang's talent in alchemy has won their approval, they are also worried. Will the pills saved by Bailey Hongzhuang in this situation be ruined? As alchemists they understand what happens in an explosion. Although what Bailey Hongzhuang did is theoretically feasible, it is very difficult to actually do it. Huan Chuyo's hands gradually folded. All this depends on Bailey Hongzhuang. Compared to everyone's nervousness, Bailey Hongzhuang was very indifferent. With a small smile on the corners of her lips, she handed the white porcelain bottle to Chu Jiao. Seeing that Bailey Hongzhuang was so confident, Chu Jiao couldn't help but wonder, is there really no problem with Bailey Hongzhuang's medicine pill? However, when Chu Jiao opened the white porcelain bottle, a refreshing medicinal fragrance wafted out, filling her nose. Looking within, the pill was round and full without a single flaw. However, this is only the surface appearance, and the internal qualities are unknown. However, as the Chu Jiao and other two checked more closely, the three of them looked at each other with a hint of amazement in their eyes. Second-rank medicinal pill, heaven-mending pill, the pill is round with uniform color and is flawless. The last comment, flawless, showed the shock of Chu Jiao and the other two. Bailey Hongzhuang actually did it. Chapter 822, Bewitching Prince Spoils His Wife, Genius Doctor and Scrupulous Consort Kanglin Academy, win. As Chu Jiao's voice fell, the eyes of everyone present reflected shock. Xia Jiqing gave Bai Junyu a high five, her delicate face full of excitement. I knew Hongzhuang would be able to do it. At this moment even Gong Shaoqing's unchanging iceberg face showed a smile too. Bailey Hongzhuang had created a miracle. Lu Huayan clenched his hands tightly, his eyes shining brightly. Bailey Hongzhuang is really fighting for Kanglin Academy. Huan Chuyu slammed his fist on the table. He has not been so excited for many years. Bailey Hongzhuang is really amazing. Lu Qingyue also had a shocked expression on her face. She was no stranger to the heaven-mending pill. She had heard Master mention it before, but Master did not have a recipe for the heaven-mending pill. Unexpectedly, Bailey Hongzhuang not only has the pill recipe, but also refined it. The Xianyuan pill she refined was only a middle-level second-rank pill, and Bailey Hongzhuang's was close to a third-rank pill. All along, she thought that Bailey Hongzhuang's talent was similar to hers, but now it seems that Bailey Hongzhuang's talent is much better than hers. Both her age and alchemy is better than her, and this gap is almost impossible to bridge. However, the most important thing is that the difficulty of the heaven-mending pill is higher than that of the jade-condensing pill. This means that they won the alchemy competition. Kanglin Academy has won. Kanglin Academy, which had failed twice in a row, won. A smile appeared on Lu Qinyue's face. She was happy for the school's achievements, but her heart still felt a trace of loss. Impossible. Wei Hanyun's face changed suddenly. It's impossible. Under such circumstances, it is impossible for Bailey Hongzhuang to protect the integrity of the pill. You must be mistaken. He absolutely could not accept this result. Hearing Wei Hanyun's words, Lin Hao's face took on a hint of coldness and said in a cold voice, are you questioning our judgment? Even if he didn't believe it, he couldn't question the three alchemy masters. In this alchemy competition, the first place goes to Kanglan Academy's Bailey Hongzhuang. Cui Haoyan and others shouted with happy smiles on their faces, Kanglan Academy won. Jian Qingqiu and Song Hongshi's faces were really ugly. They had been working out a foolproof strategy for so long, but they lost. Huan Chuyu glanced at Jian Qingqiu and Song Hongshi with a bright smile and said, Principal Jian, I hope you can find out who is behind this. Hearing this, Jian Qingqiu glanced at Huan Chuyu gloomily, and for the sake of face, he could only say, Don't worry, I will definitely find this person. Then I will be relieved. Huan Chuyu chuckled and walked towards Bailey Hongzhuang. Beihai Academy ended up having wasted their effort. Hongzhuang, you're amazing. Xia Jiqing and the others rushed towards Bailey Hongzhuang. This alchemy competition win is all thanks to Bailey Hongzhuang's ability save the day. The corners of Bailey Hongzhuang's lips rippled with a bright and sunny smile. She originally did not intend to participate in the alchemy competition, but by chance she took first place in the alchemy competition. The scene just now was so thrilling that our hearts were in our throats, Cui Haoyan said with a smile. Very impressive, Gong Shaoqing also said. Wei Hanyun looked at Bailey Hongzhuang indignantly, his heart unusually resentful, but the result had already been announced and there was nothing he could do. Whether it is in the cultivator competition or the alchemy competition, Bailey Hongzhuang's performance is too outstanding, which is not a good thing for them. At this moment, Bailey Hongzhuang suddenly stopped everyone. Could it be that she is being arrogant? Bailey Hongzhuang walked directly in front of Huan Chuyu and handed the note to him. She believed that Huan Chuyu would resolve this matter well. When Huan Chuyu saw the content on the note, his expression changed slightly, anger and dissatisfaction flashed, and when he looked at Jian Qingqiu and the two of them again, his face grew a little colder. Vice President Song, according to the information we received, Wei Hanyun doesn't seem to be a student of Beihai Academy. Chapter 824, Bewitching Prince Spoils His Wife, Genius Doctor and Scrupulous Consort uncovering the conspiracy. As Huan Chuyu's voice fell, both Jian Qingqiu and Song Hongshi's expressions changed. Elder Huan, what do you mean by that? Jian Qingqiu asked tentatively, but a storm surged in his heart. They kept this matter very secret, and it should have been impossible for anyone to find out. There is no such person as Wei Hanyun on the Beihai Academy team. Moreover, according to the information we have learned, Wei Hanyun seems to have previously been a student of Lingyin Academy. Huan Chuyu's voice did not have any restraint, and all the students present could hear it clearly. The expressions of the cultivators of Beihai Academy changed a bit. In their hearts they knew best that there was no such person as Wei Hanyun at Beihai Academy. In fact, the tutor greeted them last night and told them not to publicize this fact. They didn't expect it to be discovered by the people of Kanglan Academy today. Wei Hanyun studied at Lingyin Academy for only a few months before he left, so the current students may not have much of an impression of him, but I don't think it will be difficult to find witnesses. Huan Chuyu's voice was cold, although he had always known that Lingyin Academy and Beihai Academy colluded with each other. He never expected that they would use such a despicable trick in this academy exchange competition. All along, he felt that it should not be difficult to win first place in this alchemy competition with Lu Qinyue's strength. Who would have thought that there was the more powerful Wei Hanyun at Beihai Academy whom he had never heard of? It turned out that this was all just a conspiracy between Beihai Academy and Lingyin Academy. If it weren't for the appearance of Bailey Hongzhuang, then the Kanglan Academy would have really fallen short. The audience was in an uproar. One by one, astonished looks fell on the four principals. This news was so explosive that they couldn't believe it. This is impossible, right? How could Wei Hanyun not be a student of Beihai Academy? It's true that I haven't seen Wei Hanyun on the Beihai Academy team before. Could it be true? Even if it is true, it must be Beihai Academy that is up to no good. It certainly doesn't have anything to do with our academy. Zhang Hongxi couldn't help but look at Jian Qingqiu. Previously Jian Qingqiu had repeatedly assured him that there would be no problems, so he used Wei Hanyun. Who would have thought that this news would be found by Kanglan Academy so easily? In this way, Beihai Academy came to a difficult end. Xiao Lanmei looked at Zhang Hongxi, who was nervous on the high platform. A look of disgust appeared in his eyes, and he turned back to the dormitory. Because of a decision of the vice principal, the entire Beihai Academy was humiliated. Chu Jiao and the others appeared astonished. They had only felt very disgusted that Lingyin Academy had tampered with Bailey Hongzhuang's alchemy furnace. Unexpectedly, Beihai Academy was even more outrageous, inviting outside help for this academy exchange competition. Xia Jiqing and others were stunned. They didn't expect the vice principal to announce such explosive news. Moreover, this news seems to have been brought by Mo Yunjue. Does this mean that the reason Mo Yunjue had not appeared today was because he helped them investigate the origin of Wei Hanyun? Without their knowledge, Mo Yunjue had done so much for them, which was a huge favor. Chapter 825, Bewitching Prince Spoils His Wife, Genius Doctor and Scrupulous Consort Because I Like You. When Jian Qingqiu and Zhang Hongxi fell silent, everyone already understood. In fact, Jian Qingqiu and Zhang Hongxi wanted to argue, but Huan Chuyu said it so convincingly, even if they had a lot of evidence, they couldn't blindly refute it. Otherwise, once exposed, their situation would be even worse. Bailey Hongzhuang's eyes also fell on Mo Yunjue. It was hard to imagine that Mo Yunjue had already known everything, and even helped them to find information about Wei Hanyun. What does Mo Yunjue actually do? The fact that Jian Qingqiu and Zhang Hongxi could become the heads of their schools proves that they are not fools. If they were not completely sure, they would never have done this. But just when they had sufficient confidence, Mo Yunjue was able to find out all this information, which was not an ordinary ability. It is impossible for a mere restaurant owner to investigate all of this, which can only mean that Mo Yunjue must have many hidden secrets. Master, this Mo Yunjue is very powerful. Wei Hanyun only appeared today. It only took Mo Yunjue a short time to find out Wei Hanyun's details, which proves that there must be a lot of people behind him. Xiao He had a serious look on his face. This was proof that Mo Yunjue's information network was very good. Bailey Hongzhuang nodded slightly. It seemed that, just as she had always thought, Mo Yunjue was not a simple character. Restaurant owner should just be one of Mo Yunjue's identities. His true identity is even more unclear. It's just that she didn't understand why Mo Yunjue, who was initially a casual acquaintance, wanted to help her like this. Master, could Nangong Xiujie be the work of Mo Yunjue? Xiao Bai pondered. Hearing this, Bailey Hongzhuang was stunned for a moment, her dark phoenix eyes flashing with a bright light. What Xiao Bai said was not impossible. Judging from the attitude of Nangong Xiujie towards Mo Yunjue at the first tower, there must be something special about Mo Yunjue since Nangong Xiujie and the two people were quite afraid of him. With Mo Yunjue's strength, it should not be difficult to kill Nangong Xiujie. After all, when she first met Mo Yunjue had escaped the hands of Tun Yunmang. It's just. Mo Yunjue had no reason to kill Nangong Xiujie at all. Unless it was for her. When this idea emerged, Bailey Hongzhuang felt this is too unbelievable, this is simply not necessary, Although Bailey Hongzhuang found it unbelievable, she had a vague intuition that this matter might have been the responsibility of Mo Yunjue. In the face of Bailey Hongzhuang's scrutiny, the corners of Mo Yunjue's lips reflected a charming smile, and his coldly stern face smiled with a hint of sexiness. He was so open and generous, but it made Bailey Hongshu feel even more bewildered. "Don't think too much, you just need to know that I have no ill will towards you, that's all," Mo Yunjue said slowly. He knew that Bailey Hongzhuang had always been smart, and everything he has done has confused Bailey Hongzhuang, but he didn't care. Bailey Hongzhuang glanced at Mo Yunjue intensely, "But, I don't understand." Mo Yunjue's smile deepened. He leaned over towards Bailey Hongzhuang's ear, and said, "Are you sure you want to know the reason?" "Yes." Bailey Hongzhuang didn't hesitate, she never believed that there was help for free. "Because I like you." Chapter 826, Bewitching Prince Spoils His Wife, Genius Doctor and Scrupulous Consort. Do you believe it? Immediately after those words fell, Mo Yunjue had already moved back to his original place. His handsome, cold face reflected ease and indifference, as if what he had talked about earlier was about the good weather today. Bailey Hongzhuang froze and looked at Mo Yunjue in a daze. "This reason. Do you believe it?" Mo Yunjue asked. After thinking about it for a moment, Bailey Hongzhuang shook her head. "I don't believe it." Mo Yunjue said it so calmly, so she felt that she couldn't believe it. It seemed to be a joke, or perhaps Mo Yunjue said it just for to get by. Because, after Mo Yunjue stated this reason, she indeed could not continue to ask. Mo Yunjue shrugged, unsurprised by Bailey Hongzhuang's answer. His smile was still charming, but no one noticed the touch of seriousness and paranoia in Mo Yunjue's eyes. "Principal Jian, Vice Principal Tsang, no matter what, you must give us an explanation on this matter." Huan Chuyo's attitude was tough. Over the years Lingyin Academy and Kanglan Academy had become more and more excessive. Although he knew about some things, he had never had any evidence. Now that he finally had the evidence, he naturally wanted to strike a blow against the arrogance of the two academies. Now that the two academies want to make Kanglan Academy lose ranking, he naturally didn't mind making the two academies suffer more. When Chu Jiyo and others saw that Huan Chuyu was able to deal with Jian Qingxiu and others, they turned their attention to Bailey Hongzhuang. They were very curious about Bailey Hongzhuang. A cultivator that could possess such exquisite alchemy was a heavenly talent. Bai Jingtian and the others were obviously shocked by Wei Hanyan's matter. They only reacted after seeing the actions of Chu Jiyo and the others. The biggest goal of their trip was Bailey Hongzhuang. "Bailey girl, have you joined the Alchemist Guild?" Chu Jiyo asked with a smile. When Xia Jiqing and the others saw the three masters coming, they understood that the three masters must have a love for talents, and they immediately backed away. This was a great opportunity for Bailey Hongzhuang. Hearing this, Bailey Hongzhuang nodded lightly with a smile. "I joined the Alchemist Guild in Kanglan City." Huan Chuyu and the other three nodded slightly. It seems that Elder Huan's movements were not slow. Such talents should indeed be recruited into the Alchemist Guild earlier. Chen Yu was very optimistic about Bailey Hongzhuang and said with a smile, "Bailey girl, your attainment in alchemy is so outstanding, it would be a waste to be a cultivator. In my opinion, you might as well concentrate on learning alchemy like Qingyue. Your future prospects will be even brighter. If you do not have a tutor, I am willing to teach everything I have learned in my life." Chen Yu had not watched Bailey Hongzhuang, thinking that Huan Chuyu found such a good disciple as Lu Qingyue. At that time, he was envious. He is not young anymore and just wants to find a disciple who can inherit his mantle. Bailey Hongzhuang's talent is truly outstanding. As long as she guides her well, her future achievements will be great. As Chen Yu's voice fell, the students present all looked at Bailey Hongzhuang with envy. "This is too lucky. Master Chen is famous in Qingshao country, and his alchemy is outstanding. It is said that he is not far from becoming a fifth-rank pharmacist. It was unknown how many young practitioners wanted to worship Chen Yu as their master, but Chen Yu had never accepted a disciple. Unexpectedly, when he saw Beili Hongzhuang, he took the initiative to mention it. Chapter 827, Bewitching Prince Spoils His Wife, Genius Doctor and Scrupulous Consort. I've got my eye on the Beili girl. Beili Hongzhuang's luck is really enviable. As long as she can become Master Chen's disciple, she will be famous in the future. Yeah, we don't have the good luck of Beili Hongzhuang. Gu Yaoi and others' eyes flickered with a glint of envy or jealousy. If Beili Hongzhuang hadn't grabbed their limelight in the alchemy competition, maybe the disciples of Master Chen would have been them. Wei Hanyan's face was even more ugly. This was also one of his goals. As long as he finds a famous master, his future will take a prosperous path, but now it has been snatched away by Beili Hongzhuang. However, as soon as Chen Yu finished speaking, Lin Hao's voice rang out, "Elder Chen, it's not very kind of you to do this." Lin Hao gave Chen Yu a discontented look. He had not expected Chen Yu to move so quickly, actually wanting to take Beili Hongzhuang as a disciple first. Like Chen Yu, he has always wanted to accept a disciple, but he had never found a suitable candidate. He likes Beili Hongzhuang overall. Beili Hongzhuang's talent and character are first class. He immediately accepted his fondness for a disciple, and he naturally couldn't allow her to be taken away by Chen Yu. "Beili girl, this old guy, Chen Yu, is not as good as me. Why don't you become my disciple?" "Lin Hao, why do you like to compete with me in everything?" Chen Yu looked at Lin Hao with dissatisfaction. He finally managed to find such a good disciple, and Lin Hao wants to rob him. Absolutely impossible. What do you mean by that? This is something I've been thinking about for a while. You just spoke up a few minutes earlier than me. There was a bit of displeasure on Chen Yu's face. He turned to look at Beili Hongzhuang again, but with a smile on his face. "Don't pay attention to this old guy, girl Beili, I'm better than this old guy." Seeing Chen Yu and Lin Hao vying against each other, the jaws of the student onlookers couldn't help but drop, their eyes filled with disbelief. What are they seeing? In the past, alchemists wanted to be disciples of Master Chen and Master Lin but couldn't. Now it turns out that it is Master Chen and Master Lin competing to be the Beili Hongzhuang's teacher. This world is too fantastical. Why are all the good things going to Beili Hongzhuang? Xia Jiqing and the others also smiled while sighing. At Chen Yu and Lin Hao's age they were able to fight over Beili Hongzhuang, which shows how much they value Beili Hongzhuang. "You two old fellows, I've got my eye on the Beili girl." At this moment, Chu Jio's words stunned Chen Yu and Lin Hao. They had forgotten that Chu Jio had also been looking for a suitable disciple. The two of them had liked Chu Jio for many years, and since Chu Jio spoke up, they had no choice but to reluctantly give up. Seeing this scene, everyone who knew the inside story couldn't help laughing. Chu Jio and the three of them were usually high and mighty, but now they are competing for one apprentice. How great was Beili Hongzhuang's face! Beili Hongzhuang did not expect such a situation and was not even allowed to speak. Several masters had already made their own decisions. Just as Beili Hongzhuang was about to speak, Bai Jingtian and the others also came over. Seeing the three, including Bai Jingtian, Beili Hongzhuang had a look of surprise in her eyes. She had never imagined that the inscription masters she saw in Wubao Pavilion would also be in Lingyin Academy today. What kind of weirdness is this? Without waiting for Beili Hongzhuang to say hello, Bai Jingtian looked at Chu Jio and other two and said, "What are you robbing? Beili girl is really promising for the path of inscription master. Alchemy is a complete waste of her talent." Bai Jingtian had a reluctant expression on his face. They came from the Wubao Pavilion specifically for Beili Hongzhuang, but Chu Jio and the others actually wanted to take the lead in snatching Bailey Hongzhuang away. That was absolutely impossible. As Bai Jingtian's voice fell, Chu Jio and the others were also stunned. What was Bai Jingtian saying? Elder Bai, are you not mistaken? Bailey Hongzhuang is clearly a genius alchemist. What does she have to do with being an inscriptionist? Chen Jianyu looked at Bai Jingtian in confusion. How amazing was Bailey Hongzhuang's performance in the alchemy competition today? Inscription has nothing to do with it at all. Only Chu Jio vaguely understood. Previously, she felt that Bai Jingtian and the other two paid special attention to Bailey Hongzhuang. Now it seems that they really came for Bailey Hongzhuang. It's just. Bailey Hongzhuang's alchemy technique is so superb. How could she be associated with the inscription technique? Is it possible that Bailey Hongzhuang can do both? When this idea came to Chu Jio's mind, she thought it was ridiculous, it was simply impossible. As a cultivator, Bailey Hongzhuang's attainment in alchemy is already extremely impressive. If Bailey Hongzhuang can also write inscriptions, there is no way in the world such a thing exists. How could I be wrong? We've been looking for Bailey Girl for a few days. Bailey Girl's future in inscription is definitely better than her future in alchemy. Bai Jingtian puffed up his chest, his face reflecting the hardships of life, full of seriousness and perseverance. How can an alchemist be as rare as an inscriber? The question that the three old guys couldn't figure out, Bailey Hongzhuang could actually solve in one sentence. So it was clear that Bailey Hongzhuang's attainment in inscriptions was not lower than theirs at all. What kind of talent is this? At first they found it hard to believe, but now they accepted the fact that there is such an existence in this world. Elder Bai is right, girl Bailey is definitely a genius inscriptionist. Ji Yunma also spoke out, although they normally have a good relationship with Chen Yu and the others, at a time like this, they were in the inscription master's camp. Everyone in the room was completely petrified. Who are Bai Jingtian and Ji Yunma? They are real inscription masters. Everyone in the room wants their inscriptions, but the three inscription masters rarely took action, and buying inscriptions is more difficult than buying pills. But now, they are all vying to make Bailey Hongzhuang their disciple. Who is Bailey Hongzhuang? Why does all the good luck come to Bailey Hongzhuang? My God, isn't Bailey Hongzhuang a cultivator? Why does she know how to refine pills and inscribe? A cultivator spoke out in a daze. From the conversation with Bai Jingtian and others, he was able to understand that Bailey Hongzhuang's attainments in the art of inscription is also amazing. How can there be such a strange person in this world? How can we compare to her? Inscriptionist, Bailey Hongzhuang is also an inscriptionist. I finally understand why Bailey Hongzhuang was able to take out so many inscriptions yesterday. She is an inscriptionist. With these words, everyone suddenly realized that the inscription that Xue Haoling had been showing off was actually painted by Bailey Hongzhuang. Chapter 829, Bewitching Prince Spoils His Wife, Genius Doctor and Scrupulous Consort. This is definitely a blow. Xue Haoling, who was already hit hard, almost spat out a mouthful of blood after hearing about it. This is definitely a blow. A blatant blow. He was so proud of an inscription, but Bailey Hongzhuang was the one who made the inscription. Thanks to his previous mocking of Bailey Hongzhuang, didn't he slap his own face? He even broke everyone's trust for this inscription from Bailey Hongzhuang. As soon as he thought of this, Xue Haoling's face burned with embarrassment. In this life, he's afraid that he will never have the face to meet Bailey Hongzhuang. He had never been so humiliated. Xue Haoling didn't stay to watch the excitement, otherwise it would only allow everyone to freely make fun of him. At that moment, Jian Qingqiu and Song Hongxi also noticed what was happening between Bailey Hongzhuang and the others. When they heard what Bai Jingtian and others were arguing about, their faces reflected shock and dismay. The news that Bailey Hongzhuang is not only a cultivator but also an alchemist had given them a huge shock, and now the news that Bailey Hongzhuang is also an inscriptionist has come out. What was this all about? Could it be that Bailey Hongzhuang had already started learning while in her mother's womb? As principals of their academies, they have seen many outstanding students, but they had never seen a student as perverse as Bailey Hongzhuang. With the identity of Bai Jingtian and others, it is naturally impossible for them to lie, because there's no need. Both Jian Qingqiu and Song Hongxi were envious of Kanglin Academy. Originally, Kanglin Academy was already weak, but they did not expect them to recruit a talented student like Bailey Hongzhuang. Is it possible to turn the tide with the power from one person? Is this God's will? Huan Chuyu was no less surprised than Jian Qingqiu. This whole time he only knew that Bailey Hongzhuang was an alchemist, but he had never heard that she had made great achievements in inscriptions. Bailey Hongzhuang's talent was hidden deeply. He couldn't even imagine what Bailey Hongzhuang's master was like. The energy and resources spent to cultivate a disciple like Bailey Hongzhuang must be enormous. The eyes of Xia Jiqing and the others reflected disbelief. They were so familiar with Hongzhuang but didn't know that Bailey Hongzhuang was an inscriber. Although Bailey Hongzhuang's performance at the Wubao Pavilion showing that she knew about inscriptions shocked them that day, they never thought that Bailey Hongzhuang could be an inscription master. Because it's so unbelievable. Although Bailey Hongzhuang had given them so many inscriptions yesterday, they still didn't think of this. However, this unbelievable situation turned out to be true. What kind of beast is this teammate they have known for so long? The dark inky eyes flashed a strange color after the always calm Mo Yinjue found out about this. Mo Yinjue's lips curled slightly. It seemed that he constantly underestimated Bailey Hongzhuang. Bailey Hongzhuang watched the several seniors arguing over her, and a bit of helplessness surfaced on her charming face. Seniors. As soon as Bailey Hongzhuang spoke up, the four, including Bai Jingtian, stopped arguing and looked at Bailey Hongzhuang. They wanted to know what Bailey Hongzhuang's thoughts were. Facing the 6 pairs of eyes staring at her, Bailey Hongzhuang could only bite the bullet and say, "Thank you for your acceptance, seniors, but I do not have plans to accept a master." As soon as these words emerged, everyone was stunned again. How could Bailey Hongzhuang refuse such a good opportunity? Chapter 830, Bewitching Prince Spoils His Wife, Genius Doctor and Scrupulous Consort Rejected? Bailey Hongzhuang's delicate and beautiful face was slightly apologetic as she knew what was best for her in her heart. With her previous achievements in alchemy, she didn't need a master at all. As for the inscription technique, she only needed to learn from the old man in the Chaos Ring. Whether it was Chu Jiao and the other alchemists or by Jingtian and the other inscription masters, they had already put down roots in the Qingshao Kingdom. It is impossible for her to stay in Qingshao Kingdom, not to mention she didn't have the slightest affection for Qingshao Kingdom. The actions of just Nangong Yujin and Nangong Xiujie disgusted her, and she will leave Qingshao Kingdom after the academy exchange competition is over. Therefore, it is impossible for her to apprentice here. Listening to Bailey Hongzhuang's words, Bai Jingtian, Ji Yunma and Qin Qingwu all had smiles on their faces. "Bailey girl, you did the right thing," Bai Jingtian exclaimed. Bailey Hongzhuang was taken aback, not understanding what Bai Jingtian meant. The 3 of alchemists also frowned. In their opinion, as long as they were willing to accept a disciple, they wouldn't refuse, but Bailey Hongzhuang refused decisively. The people who were originally envious of Bailey Hongzhuang now only felt that Bailey Hongzhuang was a fool after hearing her answer. Bailey Hongzhuang actually gave up such a good opportunity. Only a fool would refuse. Bailey Hongzhuang is too arrogant. She chose to give up such a good opportunity, she will definitely regret it in the future. In my opinion, she is proud and arrogant, she doesn't know how stupid she is. This is also a good thing. This kind of person isn't worthy of Master Chen and the others' consideration. The cultivators of Lingyin Academy all gloated. They were previously envious when they saw Bailey Hongzhuang's good luck. Now that Bailey Hongzhuang has given up this opportunity herself, they are in the same position again. However, what Bai Jingtian said next stunned everyone again, and their faces grew even uglier. Bailey girl's inscription skills are so superb, even the three of us agree that we can't be Bailey girl's masters, and can only forge a long-term friendship between equals. Bai Jingtian glanced at the Chu Jio and the others. You three old guys want to be Bailey girl's master, what are you trying to do? Chu Jio and the other two were stunned. In their opinion, even if Bailey Hongzhuang is a genius, her ability in inscriptions is at best comparable to her ability in alchemy. Now Bai Jingtian actually said that Bailey Hongzhuang's inscription skills are at the same level as theirs, so how powerful are Bailey Hongzhuang's inscription skills? Although Bai Jingtian and the other two have very strange temperaments, they also know that they never lie. Since they say this, then it's the truth. At that moment, Chu Jio and the others were no longer displeased by Bailey Hongzhuang's rejection. Bailey Hongzhuang is already a master of inscriptions. How could they still accept Bailey Hongzhuang as a disciple? They can only be equal with Bailey Hongzhuang. Lin Hao felt that this was too unbelievable, so he couldn't help asking, Elder Ji, is what Elder Bai said true? Ji Yunma nodded without hesitation. Yes, the Bailey girls solved a problem that had been plaguing us a few days ago with one sentence. Lin Hao and others were shocked. It seemed that they still underestimated Bailey Hongzhuang. She can actually direct Ji Yunma and the others. How terrifying is this? Telling the truth, but no one believes it. For a while, the look in everyone's eyes changed again as they stared at Bailey Hongzhuang. At Bailey Hongzhuang's age she can be called an inscription master. How could there be such a pervert in the world? Bailey Hongzhuang also did not expect Ji Yunma and the others to misunderstand her ability. In fact, she is only proficient in the configuration of the inscription liquid, and she is a true beginner in drawing inscriptions. Who let Ji Yunma and others debate that day about the configuration of the inscription liquid? She has studied with the old man of the Chaos Ring for so long and has only mastered the configuration of the inscription liquid. The old man of the Chaos Ring obviously intended to have Bailey Hongzhuang learn the basics by starting with the configuration of the inscription liquid. Who would have thought that such a misunderstanding would occur? Ji Lao, it's not like you've said, my inscription skills are actually, not waiting for Bailey Hongzhuang to finish speaking, Ji Yunma said, now you know how strong Bailey Hongzhuang's inscription skills are, right? If she studies the inscription technique wholeheartedly, her future will be limitless. Hearing this, Chu Jio and the others looked at each other. They were amazed by Bailey Hongzhuang's ability in alchemy, but they had no way to refute what Ji Yunma said. Inscription technique should be the direction of Bailey Hongzhuang's development. Actually, my inscription skills are not that good. Bailey Hongzhuang couldn't help but say. It's just that at such a moment, no one believed what Bailey Hongzhuang said and only thought Bailey Hongzhuang was being modest. Bailey girl, don't be humble. It just so happens that we old guys still have a few questions to ask you for advice about inscriptions. If you have time now, can you come to Wubao Pavilion with us? Qin Qinggu smiled broadly. They came to Bailey Hongzhuang this time so that they could have a good discussion on inscription techniques. Inscriptions are like this. It is easy for one person to get cornered when studying it alone, and only when everyone is together can they open their minds. With Bailey Hongzhuang's strength, she will surely be able to bring them considerable gains. Elder Qin, my inscription skills are really not that good. Bailey Hongzhuang said helplessly. If the discussion is about the configuration of the inscription liquid it is fine, but if it's about how to draw inscriptions, then she is really a beginner. This girl is too modest. Bai Jingtian chuckled, not believing Bailey Hongzhuang's words at all. He turned around and said to Chu Jio and the others, "We have some questions to ask Bailey girl, so we'll leave first." Bailey Hongzhuang could not stop Bai Jingtian's enthusiasm no matter how she argued. Bai Jingtian and the others had obviously decided that she was hiding deeply. Bailey Hongzhuang was very helpless. No one believed the truth. After Bailey Hongzhuang was pulled away by Bai Jingtian and the others, only Xia Jiqing and her group were left blowing in the wind. The students of Lingyin Academy only felt that the world had gone crazy. Bailey Hongzhuang was actually an inscription master, how can this be endured? The alchemy competition thus came to an end, but Huan Chuyu obviously wouldn't let the existence of Wei Hanyan go. He would definitely grab hold of this issue. Therefore, the three principals deliberated for a while. When Huan Chuyu walked out, a satisfied smile appeared on his face. Obviously, the three principals must have reached an agreement. Jian Qingqiu and Song Hongxi had extremely ugly expressions on their faces. In this alchemy competition, they really lost their wives and lost their soldiers. TL/N, idiom means to suffer a double loss after trying to trick the enemy. Breakthrough, Gong Shaoqing. When Bailey Hongzhuang came back from the Wubao pavilion, she was surrounded by Xia Jiqing and the others. Sensing the dissatisfied gazes of Xia Jiqing and the others, Bailey Hongzhuang couldn't help but say, "What are you thinking?" Xia Jiqing smiled and said with narrowed eyes, "Hongzhuang, you are hiding too deeply. You have kept us in the dark. If it weren't for Master Bai and the others speaking up about this, we would not have found out this information." Zhang Yunfeng continued. "You didn't ask me either." Bailey Hongzhuang opened her hands out innocently. She never planned to hide it, but she wouldn't deliberately tell everyone that she was an inscriptionist. That would just be showing off. Seeing Bailey Hongzhuang's innocent appearance, everyone was helpless. Who would think to ask such a question? "No matter, anyway, it was wrong of you to conceal this. We are very vindictive," Xia Jiqing said with a smile. Hearing this, Bailey Hongzhuang's gaze swept across Xia Jiqing and the others one by one, and slowly said, "So, are you planning to return my inscriptions to me?" When this was asked, the faces of Xia Jiqing and the others all changed slightly, and they immediately took a step back. "It's getting late, I'd better go back to cultivate first." Xia Jiqing was the first to bolt. She had already used the inscription Hongzhuang gave her. "Jiqing is right, I'm going to go back and cultivate properly." Zhang Yunfeng also slipped away immediately. They already used them, so how could they return these treasures to Bailey Hongzhuang? Soon after, everyone left one after the other. Only Gong Shaoqing was still standing in place. Bailey Hongzhuang raised her phoenix eyes slightly, and she silently asked herself, could it be that Gong Shaoqing wanted to return the inscription to her? "I'm also going back to rest, I have to participate in the finals tomorrow." After saying this, Gong Shaoqing also disappeared in front of Bailey Hongzhuang. Seeing this scene, Bailey Hongzhuang couldn't help but laugh softly. She felt really happy to have met such a group of friends. The next day, just as the day dawned, Bailey Hongzhuang and the others got up. Today was the finals of the cultivator competition, and it is also the most important round of this academy exchange competition. After everyone gathered, Huan Chuyu led everyone towards the royal competition arena. The last final would be held at the royal competition arena, which will attract a lot of attention. The emperor of Qingshao Kingdom as well as royal relatives and other powerful people will be there in person. Ordinary civilians are no longer allowed to watch this competition, and it is for this reason that everyone attaches great importance to it. Bailey Hongzhuang's gaze fell on Gong Shaoqing, and a look of surprise appeared on her pretty face. "Gong Shaoqing, have you broken through?" She clearly felt that Gong Shaoqing's breath was much stronger than before. He had clearly broken through from the late mysterious realm to the innate realm. Gong Xiaoqing nodded slightly, it's just a fluke that I just broke through. Bailey Hongzhuang took a deep look at Gong Xiaoqing, she knew how much importance Gong Xiaoqing attached to this final. From the moment Dong Fangyu was hit, Gong Xiaoqing's heart had been extremely subdued. Taking this opportunity to finally break through to the innate realm would be a great help for today's final. As Bailey Hongzhuang's voice fell, everyone looked at Gong Xiaoqing in surprise. This is great news. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Chronicles YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.